Party people, what's going on? Samaj Marsh. I'm the founder of BlueDeathValley.com, and I want to welcome you guys back to a special edition of Not Inside the Valley. We had to call the audible, gentlemen, and we are doing a Blue Death After Dark by popular demand, special request, in light of everything that transpired over the weekend, the aftermath of the GHOE debacle. Guys, it was a rough one, but we're going to have a hopefully a impactful show tonight. We're going to open up the show to the fans. This is going to be an opportunity for a lot of people who were talking my head off at the tailgate and who've been writing these think pieces on Facebook. It's a chance for you to actually put a face to your opinion, and jump on the show and then share your thoughts and ask questions. We also going to be monitoring the chat. So any comments you guys in the chat, we're going to try to bring forth to the show and address head on. But to get started, let me introduce my two co-hosts. They'll be here tonight and guiding the show. First up, former A&T wide receiver and a native of Greensboro, North Carolina. And a good news, can't forget that now. My man, Dougie Fresh Brown. What's up, Doug?
Hey, what's up, guys? Dougie Pride. I hope you guys had a wonderful GHOE. Still trying to bounce back over here, man. Trying to stay hydrated and all that good stuff, man. So, have a GHOE.
Yes, sir, Douglas. And, of course, the man in the middle. Always speaks some facts. Not talking riddle. Long time A&T insider. A beat writer on BlueDeathValley.com for over 2 decades. The current president of the Greensboro chapter of the AAF. And he was also mistaken to be the grand marshal of the homecoming parade this year. I think he got more buzz than Josh Stein. He was the man of honor. So
real Aggies know. Real Aggies know.
Yeah. My right hand man, CT. What's going on, Craig Turner?
CT. Hey, Aggie Pride guys. It was an eventful weekend. I just put it like that. It was homecoming, and it was a long day Saturday. Started for me about 3:00 in the morning, and it ended probably about I'd say probably about midway through the third quarter for me. So it was a tough weekend, but I enjoyed it. It was fun. I'm like Doug. I'm still recouping a little bit. So
yeah. So we're gonna talk all about the elephant in the room, which is the state of our football program. That's kind of why we're here tonight. But before we do, let's do some housekeeping. Let's just give some praises, some props to the people who worked hard to make last week a success. And like you say, that's not an easy undertaking. You got over 100, 200, maybe 1,000. How many thousand people you think was in the city? I don't know what 100,000, 150 easy, right?
Yeah,
and,
at least.
Yeah, and knock on wood, I didn't hear any major safety issues. I think every the news blotter was pretty quiet most of the weekend. And then of course, just the events. We had Tyler Ball on here Wednesday night, and he was helpful, and he gave out some of the event calendar stuff, and just to see how everything played out. It's one thing to hear it, but to see it physically play out from the parade that morning to the game to all the tailgating all the way down Laurel, the blue lights, it was incredible. So everybody at A&T who had a hand in that, I hope you guys got a chance to take a day off on Monday or Tuesday, because it was super well. I mean, the greatest homecoming on earth would not be possible without probably the greatest event staff on earth. We didn't fly in a whole bunch of high dollar coordinators from all across the country. This is just a grassroots effort. People who work in the university was get overtime and doing stuff. Security, GPD, Greensboro Police Department, A&T Police Department, and all the agencies that they partner with. You guys were respectful. You guys were organized. You let everybody have their fun, and you still made everybody safe. So I saw my sharpshooters on the roof. You see those guys, Dougie?
Oh yeah,
it made me feel kind of good. Like, hey, look, I know some break out, and they gonna stop it quick, fast, in a hurry. So that was good. Billy Edgerton, of course, that game day staff. What's Danielle, my man, Danielle, Billy Edgerton, of course, Brian Holloway with that media relations team, all the folks inside that department, of course, Earl Hilton. I love the signs we had. We had some new banners outside of the gate saying "donate." Saw those when you walk in, and they had like a little text bar was like a what do you call it? QR code that you could scan and get to the donation page quick. Like a lot of the complaints that we had that were addressed. I mean, there's still some work to do. We're gonna talk about that tonight, right? But I do want to tip my hat and say, job well done. I had a ball. It's one of my best homecoming experiences outside of those 3 hours inside the stadium. Everything else was first class. So good job, A&T, in that regard. But Dougie, it's hard to forget 59-17. And that was final score on Saturday against Hampton. Came to that game with a lot of momentum. Not momentum, but we had a week off. So we had some optimism. Let's say we had just played Richmond, number 21 team in the country, played them to like 3 points on their home field. And Justin Fomby had a great games. Defense made some good stops. We thought we were trending upwards, right? And for the first 3-4 minutes, it looked like this could be our day. Hampton had a bad snap, went over the guy's head, got a forced a turnover on downs, and we quickly score. A quick, nice little deep pass, and then we get the ball in the end zone. Ensuing kickoff, somebody puts their helmet on the football, ball comes out, we recover. And next thing you know, we call this perfectly executed wheel route to the running back. We are 14-0. Douglas, I'm thinking finally Coach Brown's gonna get that signature win he's been needing to quiet some of the critics. We get some good momentum. We can ride this out, man. I tell you, that thing lasts about 7 minutes. Dougie, what happened, man? Give me your take on what happened, man.
Some of the same old song, man. Just made some mistakes and some inopportune times. I mean, you saw it on that next drive right after we were able to go up 14-0. Just made some mistakes that, your coach talked about in the press conference. Inopportune times, and those mistakes compound and lead to additional mistakes, which ultimately leads to the team scoring points. And we did not score enough points, and we didn't stop the team from scoring enough points. Again, the game was close, well into the second half. Just got away from us late at the end. So we haven't got over that hump yet in terms of being able to finish a ball game. Extremely pleased with how the guys started. Thought they had a lot of energy, a lot of emotion. I thought they did a good job of playing off that emotion in the first couple possessions and taking advantage of some opportunities, right? Like we talked about, things not always bouncing our way. They did early on, and then the tide turned. And that happens when you have a ball club that's still learning to win, still trying to figure some things out. So tough loss, but it's behind us now. I hate that it happened on homecoming. It's always tough to come home and you get a bunch of fans and a bunch of folks in the stadium who aren't there typically throughout the year. And I think we've seen that not just at the game, but also on social media, right? We're kind of hearing some comments and hearing some concerns from fans that we're like, where y'all been all year, right? Like, y'all just getting to the party. So it is what it is. Tough loss, and I hope the guys learn from it. I hope they were able to experience GHOE and get something out of it on the field, even though it was a loss, man. It's still a tremendous opportunities for those young men to essentially play in the game they came to A&T to play in, right? I don't care if it's your first one or your fourth one. It's always special to run out that tunnel and to feel the energy from that crowd, because it is a lot different than the Aggie Eagle or the Winston game. So fortunately, the ball didn't bounce our way and we didn't make enough plays. We still got some work to do, but not the result we were looking for or hoping for as Aggie fans.
Right. So, Craig, you had a long day. You were the first one of us on campus, at least, getting ready for that parade. And I'm sure the day got a lot longer from the hours of 1 to 4 p.m. So, what was your assessment of what happened on Saturday?
it was almost deja. Well, it was deja vu. The Central, kind of like the Central game, start off quick, and then the wheels come off. I mean, and it come off. They came off. They came off fast. Not quite as fast as they did down at Central, but it. Like Doug said, we're still making the same mistakes we were making in weeks 1 and 2 and 3. We're still making the same mistakes, and we're now into the second half of the season, and we're still making the same mistakes. Can't feel. When you get on, when things are going good, you get on a roll, and everything seems to fall into place for you. And by the same token, when you got your back up against it, and you're not, you seem to be, running in mud. It steamrolls back. It rolls back the other way, and I think that's pretty much where we are right now. The only cure for that at this point is you got to win a ball game. 8 games. It's not about anything else. There's the only cure for that mental aspect of the game that we're suffering through now. Because I being down there on that. For the short period in that second quarter down on that sideline, it's as much mental as it is physical. So the only cure for that is you got to win a ball game.
Yeah, and that's easier said than that's easier said than done, because I mean, the other team is not. They trying to win too, right? Those guys are fighting for their jobs, and they fight for players.
They're not buying into that.
Yeah. We had Greensboro native Chris Zellis. That was his homecoming. He had a lot of family in attendance. I saw him walking through the tailgate afterwards. Man, he was proud as a peacock. And I'm not sure what his recruiting process was like. I don't know if A&T didn't recruit him heavy or whatever, but he looked like he was vindicated almost of that with that performance. And so there's a lot of different things to take into account. First and foremost, though, Coach Brown, we named this thing on social media. We said a state of emergency, regrouping after GHOE. So I do think that this is a state of emergency. I think even though we're only 7 games into the season, we got 5 games left, and this is just his second year, not even second, it's a year and a half, basically. I do think he's at a pivotal point in his coaching career. He's going to have to find a answer, right? By hook or by crook. And what I'm saying, he could very well go winless the remainder of the season. He could finish 1-11 after going 1-10, right? That's very possible, right? But he's got to do something to where people are just have a little bit of a glimmer of hope. Like, if we just maybe give him some more resources here, we can turn this around. I think he's going to have to evolve in his persona, right? I think that's the main thing. Right now, the Coach Brown persona is not working. It's not resonating with the fan base. I'm hearing that he doesn't have these strong connections with the locker room, right? And when I say I'm hearing, it's not 4 or 5 disgruntled people. I mean, I can take a straw poll. A lot of people in the locker room are saying that, right? Okay. And really, he's going to have to find a way to connect. Now, I don't mean he's going to have to do startup, be doing stand-up comedy and puppet shows or whatever. But whatever it is, right? The thing about human beings, we're all unique, right? But that's the reason why I'm able to kind of, and Doug, he's a master at this. Craig, you're good at this too. The reason how you're able to go into a room, right? That you don't know anybody, and still kind of break the ice, you got to find that one thing that you have in common with the other person. And a lot of times you do it by asking questions or just having a general interest in what their story is. But you got to find a connection. And if he's struggling to find that strong connection, it's not going to work, because it's so much adversity. The only people who are going to stay with you, right, are the folks who just feel like, man, it's my guy. I can't let him down, right? If you don't have a whole bunch of those people, it's a done deal. So we're going to talk all about that. We're going to try to find some solutions. It's not going to be just a whole gripe session, because I promise you, I got enough stuff in my own life to gripe about. I don't want to just go ad nauseum on stating the obvious of how bad the football program is, right? But let's use this, because the name of the show was Regrouping after GHOE, right? So, and that's kind of a double entendre. We're regrouping because we got battered and beaten, so we got to pull ourselves together. But we also need to reorganize this group of Aggies, our fan base, our Aggie Nation. I think we all need to come to a consensus here and figure out, what are we going to do? Are we just going to be apathetic the next 5 games? We're just going to sit out this thing and start worrying about women's basketball? I mean, are we going to shut it down? We still got 5 games left. We got 2 games at home. Are we going to just fire off crazy emails to Earl Hilton for the rest of the season? Fire him and then fire yourself. Is that what we're going to be doing? Is that how we're going to spend our time? So I think we need to come up with some calls to actions and figure out what, as a fan base, our next move could be. We got a town hall. I saw on social media that Earl Hilton is organizing. I'll give you some backstory behind that. But so that's where we are tonight. I put the link in the chat for the show. I put the link on Twitter, I believe, and I also put the link in the ANT fan forum, BlueDeathValley.com. There's a thread that says Blue Death After Dark, and you will see the link. If you need it, I'll put it back up here again. But we're going to bring you guys to the show. Want everybody to get their chance to get off their chest. We got 2 long-time guests of the show, 94 and Dave. So we're gonna let y'all hang around. So we're gonna bring y'all to the panel right 94. Now. 94 and Dave. Gentlemen, if you got any background noise, and I'm talking about you, 94, go ahead and cut your TV off or anything. Vacuum cleaner, parrots, kids screaming at you from the room, whatever y'all. If y'all can mute that, we can operate here.
I'm glad to know you in good spirits. At least you in good spirits.
Great spirits. Hey, listen. First of all, Dave, you should be ashamed of yourself. Well, I heard you was beating up all these kids in a video game and student.
Oh, absolutely. No, let me explain something to y'all. Let me tell you something to y'all. When it's competition, it's competition.
Come on now. These. I believe
these are not. And let me be.
I believe the children are the future. You're supposed to teach them well.
They ain't kids. They're adults. They catch these fades too.
They catch fades too, man.
Tell them, Dave.
They catch these fades. But there was one that got me though. So I got I sat there for 3 hours and I had to be surprised to one of them.
So Dave got on campus, and instead of just going around to his old engineering building or whatever, he set up shop in the student union at the esports
Aggie esports lab.
Esports lab, and he put out a call to action. Say, I want everybody who heard me to come out down here and get this work. And I think you was even betting, folks, weren't you? I
didn't bet. You can't bet.
You can't bet.
Okay. First to 2, you beat me, I give you a prize. And it was some money. I give some money.
All right.
So that's now, good. But I will say, if I did it by the original rules, I would have been undefeated. But there was one kid, there was one student. That after it happened, he said first to 10 for $100. And I said, I ain't gonna do that, but I'll do first to 5 for 25. And he beat me 5-1. And so I said, all right, work. So, but he was legit, like he was good. And I knew he was good when I beat him 2-1. So he was good.
What game is this?
Street Fighter 6.
Okay, there you go.
Okay.
Right.
So and shout out to the esports team. They got a phenomenal Fortnite squad. They out here playing Overwatch, Call of Duty, Smash Brothers, Ultimate. They out here playing them all.
When's that arena supposed to be done? No, they're refabbing.
They're supposed to put an area down on the first floor in the student center. It's like a $1.5 million investment. I don't know. I think about a year or so from now, I believe.
We'll have to check with Rob McNair. He'll help us up with that, man. That's all right.
Yeah, but shout out to Dwayne Meekins who runs it.
Oh yeah, I didn't know Wayne was doing that.
Oh, you didn't know? Oh, yo, you went to school with him?
Yeah. Big, Big, you saw Big Dwayne?
I don't think he's big anymore.
Okay, maybe different guy. I don't know.
It might be a different guy, but he does an extra job with the students, and the students love it. Okay. And it's not just for competitive gaming; it's also casual gaming as well. Yeah. They got a pretty good setup in there, man. And so
that goes kind of piggyback what I was saying about all the great things going on this week. I mean, I know a lot of folks were disappointed by the outcome of the football game, but if you could block that out for a little bit, I mean, it was a really a proud moment to be back on campus and see all the ways our university is growing. But let's get back to the brass tacks here. We got to talk about this football program. That's why we're here. All right, so look, if anybody wants to join the show, we're gonna make room for you. You ain't gotta be here for the whole night. We can get you a couple minutes here and kick you out. But Dave,
you're only getting 30 from me, bro.
All right, what you gotta do, man? Just let me know. Give me a heads up. All right, so look, it started off Saturday. Things went bad, and after the game, what did Coach Brown? How did he label it? Because
I had the quote.
Yeah. Let me pull the quote.
It was an abject failure.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, that was the part. Let me see.
Okay, so after the game, he said this was an abject failure in every form and fashion. We look like a poorly coached team, and I own that. And see, that's And he says I'm utterly sick. The way we started with such promise, it was so disappointing. That is hard for him because I don't know if you guys been around him. He's a proud dude. Like he wants to stick out his chest and hold his head up. But he's just getting barraged by just so much just frustration and pain, disappointment. And showing, I've been to press conference since day one. Since he got hired, I've been to every press conference he's been at A&T. And you can just see it's just wearing on him. So I feel bad for him. Dougie, I gotta break some breaking news here, man. It's breaking news. Samaj Marsh, I like Coach Brown. to me, and listen, to a lot of folks' chagrin, I'm a Coach Brown fan. I want him to succeed. I don't know him well, but the small one-on-one encounters we have, man, I'm rooting for him. I like the dude. Man, it kind of pains me to see somebody who's trying their best, right, to go through this. Unfortunately, 94. I don't know if his best is good enough. What say you?
So on the Thursday before the game, I actually had a conversation with him, and everything that you're saying is accurate. I mean, when you're in his presence, I mean, you can't help but want to cheer for the man. I mean, and I really think that his heart is in the right place. But I got to tell you, at this point, I'm in a state of ambivalence. I'm in a state of ambivalence. I mean, the one thing that I asked him was, "Are you guys locked in? Are you ready to go?" His response, "Absolutely, we're ready." And we get the result that we get. I'm an Aggie through and through. I'm gonna keep, rolling and everything, but I want to see him succeed. I just don't know, honestly, if he has what is needed and necessary to lead a program.
Yeah. Dave, you've been around live football. You cover the Panthers. Obviously, you're one of the best podcasts, independent podcasts on YouTube covering Carolina Panthers. And you've seen a lot of coaching changes. Guys come in with a lot of bluster, a lot of energy, and then eventually the losses mount up and it wears on. They get out of here. Do you see any pathway? I mean, it's crazy to talk about when you only 18 games
18 games.
You're 2-16. But do you see a pathway where Coach Brown can possibly just turn things a little bit around and get on on a streak here? Or
this season or after this season? There's a very important distinction.
Okay, like this. Can he make it the next year? Do you see a pathway where he can legitimately make it to next year?
Yes, I do. And I think part of it is because of the contract. But I think the big thing for him to become successful here is that I think he's going to have to get out of his comfort zone a little bit. And I don't think he's left that comfort zone yet. I think it's starting to appear. Like I think what happened in that Monday's press conference was probably the first time he had to leave his comfort zone a bit. Like I think that's probably the first inkling of it to me, based on what I saw. But I think he has to leave his comfort zone. Like, I don't want to believe that we don't have the talent to compete. I think we do. But I think you just have to adjust with the talent that you have. Maybe you can't run the scheme that you want to run defensively with the talent that you have, and you got to adjust. You're a coach. Like, that's part of coaching. And as a Panthers fan, I've seen enough of that, right? Where we've had coaches that did not want to adjust with the talent that they have. And then that coach gets fired. And then we see somebody else pop in with the same talent, or worse, you trade somebody or get rid of somebody, or somebody leaves the team or whatever. And then they play the best football they've played since the ownership taken over the team. So like you got to be able to, like he always says every week, there's no waiver wire. There's no free agency market. This is who we have. So you kind of have to adjust to what you have and play and put them in the right situation to succeed. Like, we talk about some of the Patriots coaches because he knows the Bill Parcells of the world and things of that sort. The biggest talent that those guys had was they showed off the strengths and masked the weaknesses. You play with what you have till you succeed.
And see, Doug, you're a New England Patriots fan, so you know about Bill Belichick. And I think, to Dave's point, I think Coach Brown is leaning on his mentor to kind of guide him in how he should be as a head coach. But unfortunately, Dougie, I think that professional NFL locker room coach mentality is not working in 2024 in the FCS, college football locker room. What do you say to that?
I'll say this. We hear the murmurs of people aren't happy. It's not resonating with the team. Yeah. But which team members are those, right? Is it the guys that he's recruited under his regime? Is it guys that are on their way out the door, right? Because having guys say they're going to enter the transfer portal, that happens at every school, every college football school in America, right? Like, we're not the first school to have a guy to say, hey, I might enter the portal when the season's over. That's the nature of college football right now.
We're just the first ones to get articles in an hour when it's announced.
We are, but that's a lot. That is a lot because of who we are, right? And we just came off of. And anybody that knows the player knows that there's been some ups and downs with the player just in his short time here at A&T. And we support him.
But that player is a quote unquote, that's a Coach Brown player. He got recruited. He got identified.
That is a gentleman that got recruited while Coach Lane was here, right? We know about the connection with Coach Lane. Listen. That was his one tie to A&T. So a bunch of us thought that he may hit the door when Coach Lane left, right?
That is a fact.
So that is nothing that's new, right? So a young man that had no ties to A&T prior to Coach Lane recruiting him, who I believe Coach Lane played with his father in college. So that was a direct tie in the recruiting. Okay, he got here. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, I was just going to say, I mean, I don't want to expound upon it at this moment, but that's something that I think, in my opinion, we're going to have to talk about too. And that is, when we talk about the evolution of a coach, making sure you have a right mix of coaches on your staff.
Well, I mean, we thought that was, I would still believe that was a good hire. Unfortunately, college football guys come and go.
It was a great hire.
Oh, Lang was a phenomenal hire.
It was a great hire.
Especially for a gentleman that was getting his first taste of college football, coaching college football, right?
And let me say this. I can speak, pretty confidently. Lane still monitors the program. He still cares about all those kids that he used to coach. Okay, he hasn't just checked out and whatever. I think he's coaching the high school in Florida. He's still very invested in the success of A&T. Okay, I'm not sure why he left. I ain't get a chance to ask him. But I'll say this though, it was a big loss.
It was a huge loss.
Anytime you lose a coach, a position coach like that, that close to the season, it's tough to replace him. We talked about how we lost Gerber and Hicks heading into 2002 season, which ultimately was Coach Hayes' last season because we went 3-8. Yeah, and just trying to replace two coordinators is tough. I'll say this: I don't think our season next year will be made or broken based off the player, whether he stays or goes. Right, like that. That's a position we've had some depth. He showed some elite pass rush ability. He's also shown at times that we weren't able to depend on. And, a lot of, the best ability is availability, right? And being able to count on a guy.
Yeah.
It's 3rd and 5.
Yeah.
You can't be the guy that jumps off sides, right? So that's just keeping it real. So,
and I've spoken to him offline a couple of times, and we're not pen pals and like that, but I'll say publicly what I would say to him privately. And I said this to other players who left A&T. I say one thing is, the meter is running now, right? If you're a college athlete and you transfer, it's not in a vacuum. People are taking into account all your potential coaches and even NFL recruiters are looking at this, and they're gonna go back and they're gonna say, what was the circumstance why you transferred? And if in their report, right, they're not gonna say, oh, he ran a 4.8 40 time or whatever, right? If they went in their report, they're gonna have a whole column for red flags, right? If the word uncoachable comes up in that column, that's hard, man. Like, that's hard to overcome.
Right? I got one better for you.
What's that?
I know a scout.
Yeah.
They have statistics that show when you transfer more than once, it's kind of hard to get into the league.
Yeah.
It's very difficult to get into the league.
Yeah. And I'll tell anybody else on the roster who might be looking, and I heard, from the grapevine, Troy, about to bring you in 1 second. I should bring you in now. Hold on, you got any pet detective stuff going in the background? Can you mute? All right.
Good.
Man. Ace. All right. Good. All right. Listen, what I was gonna say, if talking about, what was I talking about? Recruits. Oh, yeah. I lost my train of thought.
We're talking about whispers and guys who might possibly.
Oh yeah. All the players who I heard Monday was a rough practice. I heard that was a couple of fireworks. I don't know if it was all just Josh Hardy, who we're talking about. The defensive end, he's our leading sack leader. We only got 3, but that's still more than anybody else. And he's an edge rusher. You might know him for jumping off sides at the wrong time on third and short, right? But he also had made some great impactful plays. I think he got a bad call on Saturday with that horse collar. I thought the rule changed where if you're in the pocket, I don't know, but he decided to take his talents to the transfer portal. And he said he's shutting it down too. He's not playing the rest of the season. But I will tell guys that the NFL sees this, and if you can't make a 1 in 5 program work, and you are tapping the off button, they're gonna put that in their report. So I'm not trying to scare folks, but just to understand what people will think. What's the narrative going to be?
Right. Well, I'll say this, man. We talked about putting guys in the right position, and the coach's ability to scheme. I mean, look. Check out what we did this past Saturday with Josh Hardy. Put him in that wide 9 and let him just take a D-line straight to the quarterback. We hadn't seen that all year, and it was an impactful adjustment. You're talking about the wheel route up the sideline to Mr. Coles. Yeah. How about the fact that we were able to get Prunty, lined up in the slot and coming off the edge to get a sack on the quarterback, right? So that benefits his film, right? Yeah. It shows that he can make plays and be versatile. And we talked about how they moved him around in the scheme and played him in a little bit of safety last year. So we've done some good things to put guys in place. As far as the kickoff return woes, I mean, you shake your head, and for a minute you'd be like, man, are those guys coached up? Then you think back to last year and all the returns that Tavon had last year. Same scheme, right? We saw Aaron Harris able to return a kick this year with our kickoff scheme. So I think that it's somewhere in between, having guys that can perform and execute, right? And guys with some experience. We saw some young guys make a lot of mistakes, and then having the right Joes out there, guys. Again, we've had a lot of injuries, many injuries to guys that we brought into play and make an impact, right? And I don't make any bones about it. It's about the Joes and not the X's and O's sometimes, right? And so when you lose depth, and you have to replace that depth with youth and guys that may not be as skilled as the guys you had out there before, it makes a difference in this conference. Now I'm here to tell you, I don't think the result would be the same if we were in a different conference.
Okay,
we were in our old conference. We are in uncharted territory. Never has a coach had to take on and overhaul a program in the CAA. Again, you can say what you want about competition. There's no comparison amongst the leagues, and I'm not talking about knocking off a CAA team here and there. I'm talking about throughout the year being able to compete in the CAA you got to be pretty daggum tough, right? To get through the league. So
Doug, and I want everybody to chime in on this. Let's throw this topic around, right? That's a good point. We're in the CAA. We're trying to figure things out. We're trying to rebuild in the second, maybe third or second toughest conference in FCS football, right? I would say 85-90% of the teams, and I'm just spitballing here, have vastly more resources than we do that we're competing against. Okay, so we're out funded. These teams are not going to slow down and wait for A&T to catch up, right? Whatever advantage they have, they're going to keep adding on to that advantage, right? How does Troy? You're Mr. Positive. How does Coach Brown overcome that on the fly? He's already 2-16, right? How does he get this thing rolling when his leadership made him do it with one hand tied behind his back in the second toughest conference in the country? How's that
okay,
work?
So let me first say, man, listen, get all your people, get out there and vote, get all your people to vote.
Right.
Pookie and all of them, and everybody, hey, we got to get everybody to vote. And I'm gonna say Kamala and Josh Stein.
So that's your endorsement, not Blue Death After Dark. That's your endorsement. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, cool with that. I'm cool with that.
I don't do that.
Hey, listen, we got to put this thing, and I keep trying to say it to people, we got to put it in context. We got to understand where we are or where we started, where we're trying to go. And if we don't really understand that the fact that we knew we went to the CAA without being at the level that we need to be,
let me stop.
Then we'll always get this wrong.
I'm gonna pause you right there. I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna give you the floor, right? But let's stick a pin right there. Listen. You gloss over the fact that we are in the CAA and we said we weren't ready or whatever. We weren't expecting to have this opportunity. I do not accept that as a legitimate excuse. Like, if you're not ready and you still do it, you're going to get blamed for whatever happens because you didn't have to do it. There was not a gun put to our head that says, I know we sold it like there was weapons of mass destruction, but we found out, just like Colin Powell, that there's not weapons of mass destruction. North Carolina Central is still ranked in the top 20. Florida A&M is still ranked in the top 25. Okay, so it was
not for long.
Listen. It was not doom and gloom like Earl Hilton said it could be. He didn't say it would be. He said he looked at the landscape and it was best to get into a conference that protected our interests. But go ahead.
Now, this is when we were in the Big South, because we didn't leave the MEAC and go to CAA. So at this point, when we checked the landscape, leaving the Big South,
yes,
the CAA was our best option.
And I think that was the right decision, because I don't think based on the vibes I got from Earl when he briefed it, I don't think he had any interest of a Big South OVC combination.
No.
He had no interest in that. He probably had no interest going to Bryant in the Big South either, but that's a whole different discussion.
Let me go back to Troy.
But Troy, can you remind me what our women's basketball team is predicted to finish this year in the
number one,
first place?
This is Aggie Athletics, right?
Hey, Troy, can you take a trip? Can you take a trip down memory lane? 2007, 2008, we consider those the dark years of A&T football. That's when we went over, right? Who was the number one athletic team on campus at that time?
Women's basketball, probably.
Beatdowns Unlimited. So just because women's basketball is doing good does not alleviate the fact that we're still in the dark days of football, and that's the number one revenue sport in A&T. So we got to
during those dark days. Where did our coach leave and go?
Who, our coach?
Yeah. Where did the coach at that time? Where did the coach leave and go?
Coach Fobbs went to retirement, I believe.
No, basketball. You said women's basketball in the dark days. That was with Bibbs, right?
Yeah. So she stayed for a while. She left in like 2000 whenever when she left and went to Grambling.
Gotcha.
All right. Go ahead, Troy.
Yeah. So
I'm sorry.
So yeah. Listen, I understand that people want to say nobody put a gun to our head, and they didn't. But when JMU left the CAA, and then the CAA opened up for new schools to come in, Earl Hilton was clear. Listen, we got an opportunity and we took it knowing we were behind.
I think it's a bad decision.
What we're going to do,
I think it's
what we're going to do is we're going to work to build ourselves up to be able to compete in this conference. Matter of fact, the last Aggie Pridecast that he was on, I think he said we have increased our budget by $2 million since we moved to the CAA.
But I don't think it just went to football.
Excuse me?
I don't think it just went to football though. That's the key.
Oh yeah.
Because like for me, it's about comparing what other institutions have in their other sports. Yeah, like the baseball program got an extra coach. Women's basketball got an extra. Like you see the build.
Right.
Yes.
You know.
So what we did see, or we've been told anyway, is that guess what? We hired a nutritionist that came in the beginning of this year, early in the year. Yeah. We filled out our strength and conditioning program to be fully staffed. But sometimes these things take a little bit or some time to take hold. It ain't like, okay, 6 months in, oh, it's all great. We got all we need. Man, listen, these things sometimes can take time. Sometimes you get lucky and things go well. Right. But you go and look at most programs that say that they're rebuilding, overhauling. It does not happen in a season or two. Matter of fact, Brown has 4 defensive tackles that are coming along. They are true freshmen right now. 2 of them are over 300 pounds. Unless they just don't turn out to be talented enough, I'm gonna say I think those kids are gonna make a huge difference on our defensive line.
They
gotta stay.
Troy, that means nothing. Because first of all, if they do make a huge difference, they might get poached. And this is what I told you on the board.
That's always the case.
I'm saying
you can't build a team and not have freshmen. You got to go out there and recruit some freshmen.
Yeah, that's always the case.
We're getting good freshmen, and I argue freshmen as talented as we've ever gotten. And Coach told you in the press conference how he wants to go about building it. Now we could argue and talk about how much we want to dip in the portal and pick guys up, but we also know what that recipe leads to. Portal guys transfer and leave too, Samaj. We're talking about a portal guy that got here that's leaving. The first guy that said he was going to leave was a portal guy. Now the freshmen, and I can speak to this. The freshmen are the ones who saying they're willing to stay. So let
me say, I'm only talking about
guys, right?
Okay.
Now, I'm only team in the conference. We know their team is heavily laden with grad transfers.
I'm only talking about.
But go ahead, Troy. Sorry.
Yeah, but I'm only talking about what we have in house. Of course, we don't know what tomorrow brings.
Right.
I'm just saying what he's recruited, what we have in house. And if they move along, we see that he's recruited some bigger kids than what we have on our roster now. Absolutely. And we got 2 other ones. Of course, we know our supposedly best defensive tackle hadn't played since Wake Forest.
You think,
who knows what kind of difference he could have made.
Right. Now, do you feel confident that we might see him next year, or is that still kind of up in the air?
I actually almost texted you on Saturday because he was out there warming up, not in pads, but he was out there warming up when they do the early warm up. Right. But when they came out in pads, he wasn't in the group. So I think he may be close because I'm seeing that, but we'll see.
At this point, maybe, and I'm just have no for knowledge, maybe he's playing at we call it the red shirt that game where you try to. Because I saw somebody on it was somebody from Colorado. They said, I'm not going to play this week, but the coach is going to let me use my red shirt this year and still get some action strategically. So maybe he's waiting for
because it's 4 games, right? Well, you got 3 more games left.
Well, so he got 3 more games left.
Yeah, the problem we have is
we got 5 transfer. We got 5 games left in the season. Oh, he's a grad transfer. So,
but I don't know how that works in terms of he might get a medical red shirt. I don't know.
Right? Yeah.
But he can still get a medical red shirt.
Yeah. Because
but here's what I am gonna do.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be down at Campbell unless something crazy happens. Okay. I'm gonna be down there supporting and trying helping our kids because frankly, you never know in football. And so I'm gonna. Hey, listen, all the wins we can get. That's what I'm gonna be trying to help them do. So,
and Campbell has a worse. Craig, Campbell has a worse run defense than we do statistically.
That's a fact.
We're next to last. They're dead last, right?
Their defense is in a good period.
So Craig,
the 2 teams are very similar. They're having the same problems. Both teams are having the same problems. Neither one of them can stop the run. on a consistent basis. The offenses are erratic. One week they'll be good. The next week they'll stink up the joint. It's a very winnable game. The question is where we're going to be mentally when we go down to Campbell this weekend. Are we? We're going to find out. I'm going to find out a lot about the kids on this team as whether they've decided they're tired of losing and they're going to go and they're going to go out there and put in the kind of effort they did at Richmond, or are we going to pack it in? That's really what. But like I said before, when I first came on the air, a win can change a lot of things mentally for this team, because I think a lot of what we're doing now is more where our shortcomings are now are probably more mental than it is physical at this point. When you get into a trend, whether it be winning or losing, it tends to pick up steam and carries forward from week to week to week. And if you start getting into a mindset or get into a pattern of losing, just like if you get into a pattern of winning, it starts to become a muscle reflex. And I think that's where the football team is right now.
Can I jump in here real quick, Craig? Because, I mean, you're hitting upon a very important point. And this was something that Coach Brown said that I beg to differ, and this is why I'm at a point of ambivalence. Earlier this week, he talked about culture, team culture. And he talked about the coach's job setting the vision and the players creating the culture.
Oh,
I don't agree with that. I think it is a both and as far as coaches. I think players help to enforce the culture. They adapt to it. But when you're in a situation that when you're rebuilding, when you're coming in new, you have to set the expectations of what is going on and what's going to happen. That's your vision.
In 2011, Rod Broadway did not say, y'all figure it out. Y'all set the culture.
That's what I'm saying. Bill Hayes, back when, me and Troy were in school, when he came in, he didn't say, okay, y'all figure it out. He brought, what was going to be his expectation. And
he asked the guys from those teams, both sets of coaches, those players and those kids will tell you that the players ran the team, right?
But that's different, Doug. That's different.
They ran the team. Yeah, they ran the team.
They run the team, but they go based off the culture and the vision of the coach.
Yeah.
I get that about establishing the culture, but I mean, when the guys that are online, it's not former coaches getting online saying, "Hey, this is what we're missing." It's those guys who led the locker room, right? Tariq Cohen said that culture. Cohen started. That's
no doubt about it. No doubt about it. I agree with you. Once that culture is established. But you're not going to tell me that an 18, 19, 20-year-old is going to come in and this is how we're going to roll. You got to have somebody leading. And I'm talking about this from a professional standing. When you're going into a new place, you have to, again, not only set the vision, but you have to establish what that culture is going to be.
Right. And you got to create rewards and punishments. Like if you don't abide by this culture that we established for the players, you're gonna be an outcast, right? Because this is what we're doing. If you're not, you're gonna look crazy if you ain't moving like we do moving, right?
Do y'all remember when I think it was Terrell Dudley? Y'all remember when they asked Terrell Dudley who was the leaders on the team?
That pregnant pause said a lot, didn't it?
It said a lot, man. And the thing is, and I love that. I love Terrell Dudley. I thought he did a phenomenal job up there in the presser.
Absolutely.
But the fact, I'm telling you, he definitely one of the best students athletes we had with regards to that. But the fact that there was a big pause, that showed me a lot. And that's not on him, but that tells me a lot about.
I'll tell y'all this, man. If you think about, and a lot of the guys alluded to Coach Walthall being the culture setter, right? When he was there and being the guy that was on your tail and being the hard-nosed guy. Well, people forget Walthall didn't show up with Broadway. Walthall came with Fobbs, right? He came in with that crew and was here for those losing seasons as well. Yeah. And we had many conversations about establishing a culture and how hard it was to get guys to buy in, right? And the culture really didn't shift until there were a new set of players in the building, right? Players make a world of difference. You can sell a program, you can be the best coach, but when you get, as some coaches used to say, a cancer within the program, or some kids that don't buy in, man, sometimes you got to cut those kids loose. You got to cut ties. Maybe it's a coach at times you got to cut ties with. But when all things aren't going in the same direction, and I'll be the first to say I don't think coach has had a true overhaul of the roster, or had time to overhaul the roster in a manner that he's looking to.
That's right? A valid point.
And that's valid. With that, you got some guys that are kind of in limbo still with the last regime. You got guys that are there because some other guys left, right? And until you get a full picture of what the roster should look like, and coaches alluded to it in every press conference, hey, we got who we got right now. Well, the charge to coaches, we got another year to make it look different, right? So I'm giving coach some grace to get the bodies in here. And we talked about it all last year, Samaj. If you didn't talk about the roster and what it looked like all last year up front, then, I mean, you talked about it ad nauseum. Look at the roster. Is it that much different than last year at this point in the season?
With Doug, that's an indictment on Coach Brown.
It is not. Look down the roster and look at the guys who are not playing that were intended to play early in the year.
But listen, at the end of this offseason, I said we gonna have to have some ready to play hog mollies up front, or this is gonna be the same issue we had last year. We still are getting blown off the ball, and we still are soft in the front seven. Okay, I hate to say soft when we're talking about prideful athletes, but we're not stout, we're not strong. That was the same problem we had this time last year. That didn't get fixed. You gotta fix stuff, Doug. No, you gotta fix stuff.
And culture doesn't just extend exclusively to the players. Yeah. What are you expecting from your staff?
Yeah. Hey, and so
let me add one thing here.
Yeah.
To 94's point, new coach comes in, they start teaching and telling and showing how they want to do things. So that first class that they get, they start learning what it is. Then the next year, they already know what he's looking for, but they're not all that old yet. And so each year it builds on, hey, we know what coach is looking for. This is what his vision is and how this thing should work. And so that's when the players, when they start turning into juniors and seniors, that's when they really can be influential on the team in terms of the culture that you have. Brown's players right now are freshmen, redshirt freshmen, and sophomores. The rest of the team is Washington folks. And I'm not downing them. I'm just saying whose players they are. Brown has, I think I went through, and he probably has 45, 46 players between transfers, freshmen, true freshmen, redshirt freshmen, and sophomores. Man, in another year, those kids are going to be a little bit older than what they are now, and it's going to be more of a shift to the culture that he wants to have and that they will be able to run.
So Troy and Doug, y'all tell me, would that be enough? So if we springboard with all that maturation, and we go from 1 win his first year, 1 win his second year, 3 wins next year, is that gonna be enough? Do we feel it?
What does our schedule look like? We know we're losing 2 top members out the CAA, right?
And we still got Furman. We got Furman. So we got to play Furman.
Tennessee State.
We got Tennessee State. And who else?
Furman's looking terrible.
We got another powerhouse. We got another FBS program. What's the other?
Where we going? UCF? Is that next year?
Yeah, I think we got South Florida or Central Florida.
Central Florida.
Hey, Earl ain't helping them out. Like, and then I saw somewhere we played Georgia. We played the University of Georgia in 2030.
That's at the end of the day.
Are you crazy? No,
that's the athletic department for scheduling that game. Because as a player, I'm coming to A&T to get a chance to play against Georgia. I might not have an SEC offer. I don't want to just play down the street in Durham, right? I want to go play between the hedges, right? Like, what are we talking about? When are we not choosing to be competitive as a university, as a football player.
This is not PlayStation 5. We're not. This is not. This is not.
If you're a football player playing college football, you do not shy away from going to have an opportunity to play in Athens, Georgia, in between the hedges.
Yeah,
that is part of your recruiting pitch.
We don't have that problem when we schedule basketball games.
No,
I mean, you know, we schedule top 20 teams. You know, women's program. Hell, the women's program can't get a top 20 team to play them this year. They
28, we might have 8 guys
here because they have to. They're coming here because they have to, not because they want to. But they're going to have to come here and play.
Yeah, I don't.
Let's get off the defeatist mentality.
We
know who Georgia is. We know who Georgia is. We know what the SEC is. Okay, we're not under any illusions. But you know, South Carolina State don't have any problem about playing Clemson
every other year.
Yeah, I don't think the money game should be included in this because, frankly, that's left field. Yeah, we're going to tend to lose those games anyway. Where we need to be is we need to be beating the teams on our level.
But I'm saying 94 and you and Troy, both of y'all alluded to the fact that, and Doug, I think it was your point that we got to have some positive momentum. Craig, you said this. We just got to stack some positive stuff. I'm trying to. When Broadway got here, what was the P word he used that everybody chuckled over? Patsy. He said you got to have some patsies on your schedule when you're starting off. You got to find a way to learn to win. And then when you learn to win, you expect to win. And then when you expect to win, your fan base expects to win, it becomes ingrained. You have the golden era and you have 2015, 2019, right? But right now we're starting over and we're saying, okay, I'm going to give you this beautiful motorcycle. Unfortunately, half the parts you're going to have to put up together yourself on the ride home. And you're going to be on the busiest highway known as ICAA, right? So you got all these obstacles built in. You don't need some unwinnable games to already get some players hurt and get your morale already devastated. Give me a Shaw like Coach Broadway had, all right? Give me a Virginia Lynchburg. We need a stimulus package, guys. We
down the street. We played Winston this past year. We
don't need to play the
You're comparing the landscape. You're comparing the landscape of 2011 FCS football to 2025 FCS football. They ain't nowhere comparable. They're nowhere comparable. The landscape of college football has completely changed from what it was in 2011 when Rob Broadway took over here. Totally different. It's totally different. You didn't have a portal back then. You didn't have NIL back then. You didn't have an open transfer rule where you could transfer anywhere you wanted to go, anytime you really wanted to go. You didn't have that. So to try to compare what he did back in 2011 to what we're dealing with now in 2025 would be like trying to compare what Bill Hayes did when Hornsby Howell was coaching 68.
Okay.
You can't do it. You can't do it.
Yeah, that said, we might have some openings on our schedule down the road that we might be able to do that kind of thing more than what we've done before. But I don't necessarily think we'll do that. I think we want to play competitive football all along the way, as well as get the money game.
Yeah, I was excited that year when right when COVID, when we had when we didn't play, when we were scheduled to play North Dakota State right after our trip.
Yeah, man, I was planning on going to that game that year.
You know, because I thought this was our best, right? The best we've ever been as a program, and we're going to go and try our
see where we landed.
Mm-hmm. See where we landed, right? I don't want to schedule North Dakota State right now, okay? And I think you have to be strategic. I just think you have to, when you're ready for that fight, okay, then you go that fight. But just saying, you know, we're not scared of nobody. I know we ain't scared of nobody, but that's just, I don't know. I think we need to. First of all, we got to find a way to get some W's. Go ahead, Doug.
Well, you don't make your schedule 1 year out. I mean, you break that schedule years down the road. Yeah. You book those games, years out. So Tyler Ball posts that graphic all the time of, what our next 8 years look like with our non-conference schedule. Right. So You got to be proactive. You got to think ahead when you're scheduling games. You're not thinking, hey, man, let me schedule some cupcakes. We're trying to grow and be our best, but let me make sure we schedule some cupcakes. That's not the nature of a competitive athletic program. Now, again, I'm a guy who loves a cupcake.
But you're not getting any better.
Right.
You're not getting. You don't get better by beating up on VUL every week.
Yeah. I'm okay with the first game of the season. Eddie Winslow, what is in the house? VUL, shout out to those schools too, man. But I'm a proponent of getting an early game on the schedule to get some momentum, get some confidence. I like it first, second game of the season, but I mean in terms of just loading up on the front end to get some.
No. I'm not saying just every non-conference is going to be SAIC or CIAA team. I'm just saying when I see these money games, I'm saying we ain't really right there down. That we got to find a way because the CAA is a powerhouse league in itself. So we don't need to look for more work. We got enough work coming down the schedule after week 4, right? So that's all. That's kind of my point. I said we still need to look at our scheduling long range. My overall point was we do need a stimulus package for this program. We jumped. I'm saying we jumped into this, right? We knew we were at a deficit. Troy, when we had COVID, and everybody was out of work. The government, both sides, you're a political guy. Both sides, they went to the Congress and they passed the law. We got some money coming to everybody, right? A stimulus package, because they knew we were in trouble. It was a state of emergency. We were in trouble. You got to go, Dave.
I got MD that's literally going live right now, so I gotta go.
All right,
this is a great discussion. Right, I will talk to you guys later.
Hey Dave, I'll be over there.
Yeah, that's fine. No, stay here with Blue. They need you here. They need the positivity here, man. So stay here until they close out.
Hey Dave, I'll be over there to make sure he don't trash talk Earth's HBCU.
You ain't got to worry about that because I'm doing a solo show right now. Welcome to MD, ladies and gentlemen. Right. Peace, guys.
All right. So
yeah. But my whole thing is stimulus package. How would if we as a fan base can do something to get this thing moving? What is something that you guys can think that will kind of help us just in the next year or a couple of months just to give him a little bit of push?
Well,
Roy said it.
Say again, Doug.
Troy said it.
What's that?
Let's show up to the games other than homecoming. That's a start, right? Like I heard a lot of complaining about where we were, and I'm like, man, have I seen any of these people at the game other than homecoming?
No.
Their sideline that folks want to get on is there every game, right? Let's come get on the sideline for another game other than homecoming. I'm just teasing. I'm gonna talk to my boys later. I'm just messing with my boys, but you guys know it. Troy's about to touch on it. And let's get behind him and give a little bit, man. That's not my area to push, but I'm gonna let Troy do his thing.
Yeah, so I actually wonder if Coach Brown's philosophy on transfers will change. That he might go after a few more than what he's done before. So I don't know. I know he talks about filling in.
I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that right off the top.
It's gonna have to.
Hell yeah, it's gonna change. It's gonna change for 2025. It may go back to it maybe in 26 or 27, but but 25. Listen, the fact of the matter is this:
his seat is burning.
The first year was a wash because of what the circumstances by which he came in and didn't have a recruiting year. So technically, if you want to look at it, this is probably his year one. Year one going into year two.
Yeah.
This team, the current kids on this team, assuming they'll most all of them stay, which they probably will. Well, I don't have any illusions under that. But 95% of them will be here next year. Those sophomores and freshmen will now become juniors and sophomores. So now you start to look at wins and losses. I'm starting to count. I'm looking at wins and losses. I'm starting to make a tally card beginning next year. That's when he should have built enough. He should have built enough he should have enough bodies, mature bodies, to do what he needs to do in the CAA. But getting back to the portal, I don't think you have any choice, because you got to start winning some games at some point in time. We can talk about you can talk about player development, and we got to get the culture right and get the guys buy into the program. Okay, I'll give you that. But at some point in time, you have got to start winning football games.
And that's not to say that going into the portal that you don't have to be selective. I mean, you can find guys that will have 2 years of eligibility, but that have proven themselves on the field. It's possible.
All right, Troy, let's check this out. I had a conversation with somebody who knows what he's talking about when it comes to the portal, and we actually talked money, right? And I asked him, I said, right now, I guess our major needs on defense is the front seven, right? I said, how, what is the standard price for if we were trying to attract the defensive lineman or a linebacker? He said, you talk about power 5, power 4. You talking about what? I said group of 5. If I wanted to, forget about Clemson and Georgia. If I wanted to go to a group of 5 team, App State, Georgia Southern, something like that, right? And I want to maybe target somebody who was in their rotation, maybe not a starter, right? But somebody in their rotation who I looked at the film and said, this guy can come in here and immediately help us out. How much would that cost? He said around $15,000 to $25,000.
At the FCS level?
At the FCS to get somebody, a group of 5 linemen. Now they're not going to be a household, Barishnikov winner. I mean, whatever they got, Outland Trophy winner, whatever that is. It's going to be somebody who you're going to have to say, let me look at his highlight. Okay, but you can tell he's probably an upgrade on what we got now. So to get somebody from like a Georgia State, it's going to be about $25,000, right? So we could, in theory, I did the math here. We could use NIL and attract a entire new front seven, 4 defensive linemen, 3 linebackers, for around $175,000 to $190,000.
Hey, I have no idea. I'm
just telling you. But if we had that much money, that's how we could play around with it. And that's,
right. I really wish the collective would put out reports about how much money they're getting in, where the money's going, that kind of stuff. That way we can see what we're doing and what we think we need to do. But let me say something about Stony Brook. I don't know if you all knew this, but last year they had a benefactor to give them $500 million. I don't know what they did with it, but I'm going to tend to think that they used some of that
to buy a team.
Some of the players they got. Yes.
They bought a team.
Right. $500 million.
$500 million. So was that like one of those things where when I die, you'll get all this money in the will, or did they get that in the escrow right now?
I don't know the details of it. All I know is they got $500 million last year for last year.
Yeah. Okay. And it wasn't the young gentleman from FAMU. It wasn't the black guy who was
no. This was apparently somebody who had worked at the school.
It was not made of rubber.
Okay, yeah. For real.
Guys, I mean, our biggest recruiting tool just happened last weekend. And if you think there weren't guys, if you don't think there were kids that were, matter of fact, I'll tell you this, there were group of 4 kids that were on campus that have already checked out of their colleges that were interested and had questions and made their way to the tailgate and wanted to know what they could do to get in touch to become players here at A&T. So when I say I'm not as worried about A&T in general because of our brand, right? We're going to get better. Like, there's no doubt about it. Because we're A&T, we're not gonna stay down too long. We were 0 and whatever at some point, and then we went on to have the greatest run in HBCU football history. So we've done this before. We've done this. This is nothing new. And I actually think we're in a better position to pull ourselves up by the bootstraps. than we were previously. And I know we talked about the landscape and how different it was, but we have a unique product that no one else can sell. No one else in this country can sell what we sell. And in the CAA, I think that we've seen that that advantage take place in women's basketball. We've seen us attract some recruits and some interest from young ladies that we may not have landed before, right? And we're in a position in the conference that many didn't see us competing last year and doing what we did, and we kind of outplayed ourselves, is what some prognosticators said. But here we are with a talented team sitting right back at the top and with a chance to win it all. So I think that women's basketball is the model for how we should conduct ourselves in athletics, and every team is different. Definitely two different coaching styles, but we've shown that we can do it with support.
Volleyball too, because volleyball, when we came into the CAA, we were at best, we were there. We got a few wins that first year in the CAA, but we didn't set the place on fire. We didn't, and now, we're into our what now? Second year, third year?
Second. No, third
year.
Third year. And they're kicking butt and taking names.
Yeah.
So it is a developmental process. We're getting better. We're getting better across. We're getting better and competitive across the board as far as our athletic teams are concerned. The only thing that's really sticking out right now is our football program, and it's the last one. It was the last one to get changed.
That's right.
Yeah, and it's also the hardest one. It is also the hardest sport to change.
That was gonna be my pushback to you, Craig. I said I don't know if just replicating the process for women's basketball and volleyball would apply to football, because obviously you got so much more money, so much more resource allocation involved. That's the only
right. It takes it's going to take longer because you're dealing with what 90 plus football players versus a squad of 15 or 20.
But then again,
the process is going to be more involved. It's going to be more expensive, and it's going to take a longer time to do it. Yeah. But we've seen proportional. We've seen what when we have by staying on course and having and giving and then putting the resources in that we need to put into it and doing a better job of recruiting than we have in past years. It's proven out.
Go ahead, Craig. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So the reality is that A&T's football program has never really been a juggernaut. Yeah, we have 8 HBCU national championships, but man, a couple of those go back into the 50s or whatever. What we're up against, though, is the greatest dynasty ever,
right,
in HBCU football.
Yes,
and we added behind that we left the conference, we left the people where we did it at, and then we went to a much tougher conference, knowing we were behind the 8 ball in terms of facilities, budget, and all that kind of stuff. So we got a bit of a hill to climb here. But I'll tell you this.
Okay,
when I was in hang on a second. When I was in high school, my junior year, we got drug all over the place. Teams from Fayetteville would beat us 50, 60 to nothing. The next year, we started out 7-0, number 4 in the state. Now the wheels fell off because we got a lot of injuries, but man, you never know what can happen in this thing. It can be a piece here or there. But hey, listen, every week I'll go optimistic to winning games. Now we see what happens, but you just never know. So hey, we got to be optimistic, and we got to support our kids, because frankly, let
me ask you a question, Troy. Who are you identifying that's not supporting the kids, though? Because everybody in this sphere is supporting. I mean, people say they want to get rid of this guy, this and that, but people bought tickets to homecoming. People come to the games are still well attended, right? People still check into shows like this. They're still talking about A&T. It's not apathy. Apathy is when you're not supporting the kids.
There's a lot of that going on. It's a lot.
When folks talk about you still got to support Brown like this, I'm just trying to figure out what is because I have to push back and defend the fan base. What is the response that y'all want to have after 59-17 or 2-16 in 2 years? What is the appropriate response that A&T fans should have right now? In your opinion?
Be mad and sad the day of the game.
Yeah.
Maybe get another day of being mad and sad, but get up off the mat and come back and support our program.
That's what we're doing.
Just like what they do. Right?
But
give it 24 hours and then they start over.
But I tell you right now, Troy, Earl Hilton and Coach Brown are benefiting from the fact that this is not, Power 5 football, right? Because honestly, let's be perfectly honest, right? As all the points that Craig and Doug and everybody here has made about it's still a growing process and he hasn't had a full recruiting cycle. Based on the deliverables, there are some places where he would be out of a job by the end of this year.
And it's not even just Power 5, Group of 5. Look at what happened down in Greenville.
Right. So it's not unprecedented for A&T folks to be talking about a coaching change. Or let's even segue into this press conference on Monday, because a lot of people are talking about how tough it was. And I'm like, I was there. What are you talking about? And they're like, I was the one being tough. So it's to my surprise, right? I thought I was being obvious.
We could take the Cleveland Browns approach and fire a coach every year. It could happen. Yeah.
I'm not saying that's what I'm suggesting. I'm not saying that's what I'm advocating for, but I'm just saying don't gaslight folks and say that if you are worried about the direction of this program and you're wondering if everything is aligned for success, then you're not being a good Aggie fan. That's just being a realist, because that's not much evidence. The high watermark of this football program as far as winning football games came last year on the road against
Norfolk State,
a below average Norfolk State team, and we barely won that by 2 points. They almost came back. They were a 2-point conversion away from tying the game. The only win we've had this year was against a Division II team in overtime.
So Eric passed away from losing that one,
or at least going to another overtime.
Yeah, 94. You were talking about, look at what ECU did this past Sunday.
Yeah.
Well, Mike Houston left a JMU program that he essentially built to take the ECU job, and everybody thought he was going to be a super success because he was a super successful coach at James Madison. Spent 4 years down at ECU. Got to a couple bowl games his first couple years there, but last couple years, ECU, I guess when Navy comes in and puts 49, 50 points up on you, they pull the plug. But they gave him 4 years, and he came out the box winning.
Their fan base is a lot like ours. There's similarities between our fan bases.
Right.
Very, very, very similar. Very similar.
But to Craig's point, he won the first 2 years, and he
won. So you figure he would have got some good grace,
right,
from that fan base. He didn't.
Right.
Well, if they're not beating the other FBS schools in North Carolina, they're unhappy, right? If they ain't beating State and don't knock it off Carolina and everybody else, and they're always going to be unhappy. So they're in a tough predicament.
And it's just like A&T, if you're not beating the HBCUs on your schedule, then the fans are going to come with the pitchforks and the torches wanting your head, and that's where we are right now.
Yeah. So let's go ahead, Dane.
Because I guarantee you, if we had beat Hampton and had beat Central,
we wouldn't have this conversation.
Or South Carolina State and Central, we wouldn't be having this conversation right now.
We'd be a bunch of mini Troys. Everybody
that's
be talking.
That's my honest opinion.
You be the leader.
My honest opinion. If we had not lost those games to those HBCUs on our schedule, if those were only 3 or 4 games that we won the whole year, we would not be having this conversation whatsoever.
In 94, guess what, though? To Craig's point, not only did we lose them, right? We got 66 put on us in Durham, right? South Carolina State put 45 points on us. We was winning that game 17-10 in the third quarter. and then we've got boat race.
Our worst games have been against the HBCUs on our schedule, not the PWCs, not the CA, with the exception of Hampton, but not the CAA teams. Our worst losses, the ones that's sticking in everybody's craw, are those HBCU losses. And that is something that is not. That's not going to set well. Is not setting well with the fan base or the alumni, and that's got people cranked up. If you had just gone 2-2,
just got one of them. Hey, just give me South Carolina
2-2.
State.
If we had gone 2-2 against those 4 teams instead of 1-3, we would not be having this conversation.
And the one that we won. I mean. And so to that point, I mean, because we have a lot of conversation about, the funding deficits and things of that nature. To your point, Craig, these are teams that we are still comparable. And I would say that our budget is stronger than theirs. And so for the late years, it's just because the HBCU.
All those 4 teams, those 4 games, those 4 programs, we spend a lot more money than they do.
And so circling back to the whole point of this conversation, and I think what Samaj was getting to, and where I'm coming from, and why I say again, I mean, right now I'm ambivalent. I'm going to support the players, but the jury for me is still out on Coach Brown, whether or not he is the right person to lead us.
True, and that's the point. That's the point. That's the point, 94. The jury is still out.
I want you to tell me your opinion, though, Troy.
No, the jury is still out.
So you're 50-50. You're not leaning no way, one way or the other. You're not leaning.
He ain't have no time for me. So, but here's what I'll say about that.
Yeah.
Losing the way we're losing,
yes,
especially to the HBCUs,
it's problematic.
It cuts down the amount of time he has, not where he is right now. So I started at 4 years of full recruiting. It might be down to 3 years or somewhere in between. Because we can't continue to lose the way we're losing to these teams now.
So look, 2023 was year 1. You say that doesn't count. So 2024 was his first year of recruiting. So you're going to give him 2025, 26. So you don't give him 4 physical years to figure this out before you make your judgment. Is that what you're saying?
No. Okay. So no, last year does count. Last year does count.
You give him that's a recruiting class, even though he only got the early signees and all that. You gonna give him that?
Yeah, that's why he gets 4 full years of football. So, but it could get cut down if we keep losing so bad.
All right, let's go to the press conference real quick, guys. Let's walk through Monday, and because there was a couple of sound bites here.
Can I say one more thing before you go?
Go ahead.
So if you all think that it was bad that I got caught on video saying we were going to drop 60 on Winston-Salem State, what I said about HBCUs is even worse, but I'm not going to say it on here. All right, go ahead.
Why you be doing that, man? Because people still associate you with Blue Death Valley. So please, man, think about that when you be going crazy on these podcasts. All right, this is Monday.
Aggie Pride.
Now listen, my Lord, he done come a long way, baby. And I'm talking about the opposite direction. It was a great day in Aggie land. Then it was Aggie Pride, and then it's like Aggie Pride. Like, come on, Coach. I know it's tough. You got to fake it till you make it still, man. Good Lord. Got his little notes. Got his hand hate. He got his wife gave him a grocery list. I bet if you open that piece of paper, it says sweet potatoes and and milk. Hey, there ain't no football points on that piece of paper. This is a grocery list.
Hey, don't be bringing Miss Brown in this. Miss Brown is an awesome lady.
Yeah, he was a little bit less enthusiastic about the Aggie Pride this week than he was after Richmond.
I love Coach Brown. Like I said, I got a chance to actually talk to him in the parking lot after the press conference. And he's a good dude, man. He understands Blue Death Valley. He didn't think I was being unfair. He gets it, and he's trying hard, man. Like really, guys. If anything, I would be like Troy and say, don't be mean-spirited in your critique. If you want to say he can't coach and this that, but it's not a personal thing, right? I have some doubts about this process, but he's a good dude and he's trying his hardest, man.
Pride. So I shared this with our staff the other day. I said, you guys don't know.
I'm about to start crying, man. This is sad.
Here on Mondays after having the kind of season that we're having.
That's rough, boy.
It's very challenging.
Yo, so like I said, he goes into it and he talks, but listen, it's all at this point right here, he's trying to almost convince himself, right? Listen what he's saying.
Some of the things that we're going through, I didn't anticipate some of the adversity, but I'm built for it.
I hear you, Coach. Tell me again.
I'm built for it.
You believe that, Doug? You buying that? You picking up what you're selling?
Absolutely.
All right, Craig, you believe him?
Of course, as he said.
Hmm?
You believe
it?
Yeah, you believe it.
Yeah, I give him benefit of the doubt until and like I said, year 3 for me, because year 3 to me is the make or break point as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah.
And in my mind, it is stay the course.
Okay, record skip. I think you're going to have to pivot, Coach. I know you want to continue to do things the way you've always done them. But I don't think the wording, the messaging should be stay the course when you go 2-16.
But what should it be? We're going to blow it up and do everything, just do whatever, fly off the cuff?
Okay,
Coach's message is no different than what you hear from Nick Saban, what you hear from
he has scans on the wall. He has scans on the wall, Dougie. This guy's not won any games as a head coach.
You know, I want you guys to go and listen to the sound clip of Nick Saban, and he talks about how he handled his team when they were having some adversity back when he was at Michigan State. And Coach Saban speaks almost to the T of some of the things that Coach Brown is saying about how he had to change his coaching style and how he became process-oriented and not so much focused on the result, right? And that changed his whole Nick Saban demeanor and how his approach to football. He's not saying anything wrong in the press conference, and I wish we'd stop eating him up like he's saying the wrong thing in the press conference. If anything, he's saying the absolute right things he should be saying in the press conference. He's not throwing our kids under the bus every week when he goes out there. He's not throwing his coaches under the bus. I guarantee you when he goes home at night, he's thinking about the same things that we're talking about.
Right.
And he's spending time trying to make those adjustments. We've talked ad nauseum on how many different things that we brought up or discussed that Coach Brown must have been listening to us. He made that adjustment. He's making adjustments. I think he has just as good as understanding, as does Earl Hilton, as to where our athletic department is, whether there needs to be changes or not. I think they know football well enough to know what we have on the roster, what we're capable of, and what the expectation should be going forward for the rest of this year. Now, whether or not we're able to get the work done between now and the offseason to get the things fixed, well, that's why Coach Brown and his staff gets paid. But to say that we're not doing things the right way or coaching the right things, that's not true. And I'm not just saying that because I'm a Coach Brown fan.
Yeah.
I'm saying that a little bit because I hear some of the messages going on, and I'm familiar with some of the guys and the culture of the program as the team sits right now. Yeah, we got a lot of work to do. We had a lot of work to do at this point last year. We had a ton of work to do today. Coach Brown signed as the head coach. That hadn't changed. Yeah. And progress isn't always like this. You know, I like to talk about that trend line and the trajectory. It doesn't always look like that. And when Coach Brown is up there saying, hey, you know, we got hit with some adversity. This is not what we expected in the moment, but I'm built for it. He's letting you know, hey, listen, this is not ideal. I get it. But I'm not about to fold up. I'm not about to stop because I get a tough question. All right. Like, I'm still right here. I'm still out in front. It's not easy, but we're going to be fine. Now, again, I don't know what the timeline looks like. I don't know what factors are brewing that may or may not change, how many years coach has on his contract or whatever. But I do know that he's coaching some good things. Is everyone buying into it? That I don't know. I'm not in the locker room every day. But when someone starts speaking about the culture of the locker room and buy-in and doing all those things, that tells me it's probably some guys that need to go. It might be some coaches that need to go, and there might need to be some new bodies that we bring in the door. Now, we'll see how quickly that happens. But that's the case not just here. It's the case at every football team, right?
Yeah.
So we'll see what happens. But
listen,
Coach Brown's doing some good things, man. He's doing some good things.
And I think most objective observers like I say, especially if you had a W, I think we can highlight a lot of those good things a lot more easier, right? Because we have some evidence to say, okay, this resulted in a W, right? But just football wise, I look at the schemes and I say, that makes sense, okay. But something I say that don't make sense, and I pointed those out previously. But my whole thing is, I just don't. I'm a marketing guy, right? I have a communications degree. I know how words are received. If you are 2-16, if you just come off 59-17 beatdown on homecoming, right? If your messaging is I'm gonna stay the course, I know in coach speech that might be meaning one thing, but in fan speak that means we got somebody who's stubborn and he's not going to change, and you don't want that to come across when you're losing. Okay, so that's my only rebuttal to what you said, Doug. But I agree with your other points that he is, you can't be too unfair to parse everything.
Dooley lost his job for that in Southern.
Who?
Dooley, who was coach. I can't remember his first name.
Eric
Dooley. They said that he was too stubborn and wouldn't make changes, so he lost his job. So this thing is really very subjective.
What was he coordinator? He was offensive defense.
He was the head coach, but he was offensive coordinator at Prairie View when they had some success.
Yeah, I know.
He was reluctant to make a change at quarterback. And again, that's one of those fan bases that you're never going to be right.
So this thing is very subjective. I will tell you that Mike Tomlin in Pittsburgh, he speaks this exact language. I'm staying the course.
And Mike Tomlin's been in the playoffs several times in a row. He has skins on. I keep saying skins on the wall. You got to have evidence. Right now, coach does not have that evidence. He can't. We don't care about that ring you won in Richmond 15 years ago. We don't. What have you done for us at A&T? That's all I'm saying. Okay.
They said the same thing about Belichick when he was coaching at the Browns, right?
But he
didn't have skins on the wall then either, right? I mean, that's what it is. He didn't have. He was trying to overhaul the culture in Cleveland.
Okay. All right. If you're gonna make a comparison to Vincent Brown to Bill Belichick, I'm gonna let you do that.
They literally came from the same coaching tree.
Same dudes. Same coaches.
So I can get with it's a harder argument to say it when you lose it.
Doug Brown, let the record show that Doug Brown made a comparison to Vincent Brown and Bill Belichick tonight.
I'm talking about the coach talk. I'm talking about the philosophy of the scheme. Okay. It's all under the same Parcells umbrella. Right? They're all connected. So when you hear
I know.
Talk, it's some of the same thing that some of the greatest coaches in America or in football history have spoken. Now, I'm not saying he's the next Bill Belichick, but it's a system. There are some correlations to some of your values in your system, right?
Yeah.
And some of it is real. And we're talking about just the on the field part.
Yeah.
I'll go back to the fact that we were trying to recreate and rebuild some of the way our program was off the field in our demeanor and our discipline, right? It's bigger than football sometimes. Now, I know it looks bad with the record, but we weren't just rebuilding a football team on the field.
Okay, now Dougie, this is why I say though. Okay, to that, I'm gonna be devil's advocate here because I agree with 90% what you're saying. We did have to change some of the discipline issues from the previous regime, but have we succeeded in that regard, right? Because Coach Washington's guys, there were a few incidents that we didn't talk about on the board, but for the most part, they weren't kicking in doors and robbing no ladies, right? These guys had some issues with on the field stuff, but they were good citizens, right? And I'm not saying that the Brown guys are bad citizens, but they still do a lot of bonehead stuff during the games, right? We still, you can't. Everything wasn't on the guy who just announced he was.
We don't have a turn of personal foul penalties. We were the field was littered with penalties at one point in time when you were on the board calling for some changes. All right, there were some moments that it got so bad with the discipline that we had some. That was the topic of our conversation.
I'm just saying that all that stuff we still have breakdowns on football stuff, not punching people in the head, but this football stuff.
And we have breakdown on making plays. That's where we're lacking right now is playmaking. That is our biggest concern. Not making playmaking tackles and playmaking plays to win the game when needed. Playmaking.
All right. So we still got 12 men on the field. We had 12 men on the field Saturday. I've never seen nobody from Coach Washington's regime take a kickoff and just touch it and say I'm good, unless somebody falls. We never had that. Now we had some crazy stuff happen with Coach Washington.
We had a whole year where we couldn't field a punt.
But he never had
continuously muff punts that entire year, and we couldn't find a guy. Well, eventually we just said, just get away from it, because we were having so many troubles handling punts and special teams. So yes, we
putting Elijah Bell and Zach Leslie back there.
And again, I'll point out that we didn't have those special teams issue with kickoff last year. It was one of the best kick return units in the nation. So I'm going to attribute that to the Joes catching the ball at times.
Doug Brown, do we have what grade would you give our special overall? What grade would you give our special teams? Overall.
Man, I'm done giving grades. I'm not giving any more grades, man.
I want y'all factor in that punt return against Wake Forest, that block field goal against North Carolina Central, that fumble return against South Carolina, all the good stuff we talk about.
I'm not going to throw in a punt return against BS ACC school. All right, we looked at that play and we saw the breakdowns in that play. Yeah. And we're not going to call anybody out, but we saw exactly what happened on that particular play.
Okay. Hey, so I'm gonna ask y'all to stay off my boy who made that issue in the end zone for that touchdown. I think he's gonna be dynamic, and I think he's gonna be a playmaker.
Oh,
he's a true freshman.
I'm one of his biggest fans. I think he's gonna run for 100 yards this week.
I'm talking about he's a receiver. I ain't gonna say his name. Yeah. But he's a receiver, and I think he's gonna be a baller for us.
Oh, that was Lane. Oh, I thought it was Cole. I'm like Doug. I thought you were talking about Cole.
It was Cortez Lane.
But I think by that time I was back in the tailgate with Doug. You talking about checked out, ambivalent, 94. That's your word. About 2 minutes to the fourth quarter, I was ambivalent. I was
man.
I was there till the last second went off the clock.
Yeah, because you and my man, what's the dude name who's always half naked running around with a wig on? Who's that dude?
Randall Ellington. Shout out Randall Ellington, man.
Yeah. Who's crazy? Troy or Randall? If you had to go pound for pound, who's the most fanatical member? Is it Troy or half naked dude?
See. One's an alpha, one's a Q. You can go with a tie on that one.
Yeah.
What? What?
All right. Back to press conference.
I give Troy the nod.
Give him the craziest.
Okay, making sure they become the absolute best they can be on and off the field.
Yeah.
Stay focused on providing them with a great experience here.
This has been
when
real fun.
They leave here, they want to come back.
They
and say, "This is my life."
Yeah.
We're there at North Carolina A&T.
Okay.
And then staying focused on building, and we build our program through recruiting.
All right, now as Craig said, we can't do it. We got to do something different though. We got to go to the portal. We got to go portal.
That's still recruiting. That's still recruiting.
Yeah, I know.
He didn't say through just high school recruiting. The portal is recruiting.
Yeah. We share with the young men around the country, particularly on the Eastern Seaboard, North and South, what a great product we have here at North Carolina A&T. Understanding that recruiting is the lifeblood of our program. Mm-hmm. I literally just left a meeting with compliance talking about, it's also challenging to talk about what happened 48 hours ago when we've literally started preparing. We're very makeable, 30 gap fits. But the AD's right here, so.
All right, let's go back.
Look, there's a lot of football left to play.
So this is when, after this, I'm going to ask him, I'm going to tell you why I asked him that.
Yes, it sucks being 1-6 right now. It really does. But we got 5 games left to play. And 6-6 doesn't sound so bad when you look at where we are right now. But it has to start with this next game.
All right, come on, Coach.
It has to start with this next game.
Coach, in light of the way the game transpired Saturday, did you have any conversations with the chancellor or your athletic director immediately following?
Now, the reason I asked, I said, I don't know if you heard that. I said, in light of the way the game transpired, did you have any conversations with the chancellor or athletic director, right? Because I mean, basically, I just wanted to know if he wanted to say. I wasn't saying like they told me I got an ultimatum, but I just wanted him to say, yeah, we talked about the direction and they support me and all like that. I wanted to give, because this is before Earl, jumped in at the very end. So I wanted to give him opportunity.
You want to know if he was on the hot seat or not. That's really. Let's get to the chase. Let's get to the chase. You want to know if he's on the hot seat or not.
I wanted to know if he was still had that vote of confidence from the athletic department. I wanted because at that point Earl wasn't in the room, or he had just walked in there, so I couldn't and he doesn't do press conferences. I guess he'll do one. He'll be in front of the media next week. But I wanted to know that he had that vote of confidence. That's what I was asking him.
Sarah's game.
I did not. But the AD's right here, so.
I guess based on the way you're struggling since last year, does this make you reassess some of your, recruiting strategies? You go heavier with recruiting players in the portal now?
So I don't know if you heard that, but I said based on how much the season sucks, are you going to start going heavy in the portal?
Make up for some losses.
Yeah, I mean, our strategy really hasn't changed.
See, and once again, Craig and Doug, I know that's coach speech, but the one thing you need to do right now, and I hope if you're listening to this and you're taking notes in preparation of what's going to happen as far as that town hall next week, the one thing that Coach Brown and you yourself, Earl, need to relate to the fan base, right? And I'm the one who told you to do this, so I'm not going to set you up for failure. I'm about honest, Earl. You need to show we're changing, right? We understand your complaints, and this is our answer, right? We are making adjustments. Because I don't care.
Come get this cat.
Uh-oh. Garfield's going crazy.
Oh, man. Given the recruiting cycles that we've had, we haven't had a chance to overhaul the roster. If you think about
that's what you said, Troy. You had time.
The kids that we actually were able to recruit were last summer's class and this past winter's class. And so,
you know what though? Okay, you sell that point better than him though, Troy. You see what I'm saying? You see what I'm talking about? Like that's plausible stuff, but you gotta present it the right way. Because I kind of glossed over that, but you made a stronger argument about the time and how behind the eight ball. I know he doesn't want to make excuses, but there needs to be somebody. Earl Hilton, what's Quante Spate? I think he's kind of got a leadership role now. Somebody needs to be putting that out there better than A&T Troy. We love you, but you and Randall the two craziest dudes. So I don't know how credible y'all are, right? We need somebody credible to be saying the same thing you're saying, that he needs more time, and I think it'll resonate.
I truly believe our focus should be high school recruiting and development.
Dougie, that's the wrong note. That's the wrong right now. In 2020,
you remember when those guys first came in and they started dropping offers all over the place on kids that were class of 25, 26, and we're like, man, we've never seen a staff go out and offer so many kids and hit the recruiting trail, and with kids that were 2 years out, right? Well, here we are, with 2025 kids that are on campus that are familiar with A&T. Coach has been in their living room or talked to them, been there to school. He said it, you've got to continue to recruit high school kids if you want to have a successful program, and then also supplement with transfers. Now, from year to year, and I think Coach is speaking to this when he said, hey, we're going to stay the course. Our focus really hasn't changed. You have a recruiting strategy, and you don't blow that up in the middle of the season and say, now we just need to go look at transfer portal kids. They've probably been looking at transfer portal kids from before the season.
Yeah.
The holes and the questions on the roster didn't arise at, in mid-season.
Yeah.
Now we've been, aiming to develop depth and recruit and obtain depth. And he said that now that need might be a little more pressing. But I mean, we should always be trying to attack and strengthen the roster. Again, we weren't able to be a heavily senior laden team or grad transfer team like everybody else was in the CAA the past 2 years. But you got to create a little roster space for that to happen. And I think that's what was a part of the end of last year's outcome. And then we'll see what happens this year. So I mean, there's going to be some movement for sure, either way.
94. Do you think as part of that stimulus package that I think we need that we can relax some of those APR things and this for a year and take some chances with some Bill Hayes pool hall knuckleheads who really can play immediately? Do you think we can we get some dumb kids in who can play football just for a year?
Now, I think you're a bridge too far. To be perfectly honest with you, you can bring kids in that have an edge, but also understand the importance of going to class. And I think that's what you're getting at.
I need somebody to understand the importance of a one technique. Can I understand? Listen. I understand our mission to educate folks, but
I don't want to be in APR purgatory where you can't even bring the types of kids you want because you don't have the number of scholarships.
That's why I said stimulus package. You got 1 year of some of the dumbest kids around. I mean, this like the entire state of South Carolina. Let's go heavy on those kids. Bring them in the low country. Go straight low country, right? And let's bring low country kids up in here who can play the 1 and 3 technique. Can we do that for one off season?
Well, this is what I'll give you, Samaj.
Okay.
I hate using that school down 85 as an example, but they're not having any APR trouble, and they're bringing the kids in that are helping them not only to win in the MEAC but to be competitive against the teams that we play as well. And in many cases, they win. We've got to, for our high school kids, we got to step our game up. I don't know who we're looking at, but I will say we've got to step our game up. Now we've brought in some good players. I have to give Miss credit where credit is due, but we've got some kids in our backyard that, and I see this in the forum a lot. We've got some kids in our backyard that we need to really be giving a serious look at. I mean, Chris Zealous lit us up. Now that's not on him.
Yeah.
That's not on Coach Brown, but that's my point.
I hate losing guys like that. And we saw Hodge Williams at Campbell. That was another guy. I mean, you're always gonna have guys who slip through the cracks. By the way, I got family in the Low Country. It's a joke, okay? My dad's from Columbia, which is you're talking about rough city. I got to apologize to Fayetteville Street. The entire city of Columbia looks like Fayetteville Street, and that's the truth. So that is the damn truth. That's my family's from. But go ahead.
So I'm not impressed by Chris Zealous. I think Mays was the one that we gave us the most of the problem, and Zealous ran the ball a few times.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know, but when Hodge Malik Williams was coming out of high school, we recruited. We looked at him against the kid that went to ECU and transferred.
Yeah.
The kid that went to ECU and transferred, his numbers were light years better than Hodge Malik Williams. But he went FBS. And so we can always look at this because guess what? How many people recruited Tariq Cohen? ECU missed out on Tariq Cohen. So, this whole recruiting thing, man, it's hit or miss.
It is.
But you try the best players you can, and sometimes you miss, sometimes you hit. So, yeah. And this whole in our recruiting in our backyard, I keep seeing people saying we don't recruit in our area. And that's absolutely not true.
Yeah.
We have 15, 20 kids in the Winston-Salem, Greensboro, High Point area on our team. And so,
not saying that we don't recruit in our backyard. I'm saying making sure we, get the cream of the crop. And when I compare ourselves to that school in Durham, we could be doing better. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, but that's the problem is how you gonna make sure you get the cream of the crop? Because other people are recruiting too.
Yeah, everybody's ain't slowing down, but I do think and when we got here, the mandate for Coach. And the reason I'm joking is because the mandate that Coach Brown was under was obviously an APR driven thing. He had to maintain what was it, score 930, something like that. 930. And because the wheels had kind of fallen off with the previous regime, so he had to he had to clean up for their mess. So I understand having these lofty goals, but I'm saying that's why I said, Kim, for a year or so, can we maybe give him a little bit more leeway to take some chances? I just
you know what?
Yeah.
The way it can happen is if he gets a year with a high APR, and then, 950,
and then balance it out.
Then he can do some of that on the other end. But it's in his contract, man. That dude ain't gonna lose his job over that number.
But look here, okay. So that's we run out of time. We're gonna try to get out here in 10 minutes. But listen, his contract has already been not voided, but we've already missed a clause on our end. We were supposed to give him an artificial football field by 2025, and Earl Hilton's already said they ain't happening. So we've already messed up one of our clauses. Maybe he can feel like, well, if y'all messed that up, and then I'll cut back on the APR. I don't know. Maybe they can negotiate something and fix it. But we've already missed. It was written in his contract. We had to give him an artificial turf practice field outside by the softball area by next year, and that ain't happening. So
not happening. And mostly because they couldn't get the softball field moved. And I don't think they wanted to have our kids playing at some high school. They rather them have that field over there.
Yeah, actually.
And it looked great, matter of fact. Shout out to Deontay again, man. Did you see how good the field looked Saturday?
Your frat, both of y'all frat brother. He
believe in the Noops, baby.
Hey, the Noops came through. Hey, that grass looked immaculate, and this is what already middle of October, and
we need to sign him and his crew to a university lifetime contract. Whatever the number is, the university needs to pay it. It looked great, man. I heard so many people commenting on how good the university looked across the campus. So
only thing we gotta do now, 94. The only thing we gotta do now, take out that prison fence. We don't need to be Pelican Bay. The last time I checked, that prison fence was put up when Craig paid for the stadium in 1981. And,
coming soon.
Hey, listen. Hey, Craig, since 1981, ain't nobody jumped over that thing at night and stole no tackling dummies, right?
It's effective. Nah,
we don't need them barbed wire around a football complex at A&T. There's no purpose for that. Nobody's breaking in at night to steal some damn tackling dummies. Let's go with some wrought iron fences and look halfway professional. Let's at least do that. Okay.
Coming soon.
Holes through the transfer portal. We brought a lot of kids on campus during the last recruiting cycle, transfer portal kids.
Okay.
And for whatever reason, we were unable to land some of those kids.
Close the deal.
That we did.
Glenn Glary, Glenn Ross, ABC, always be closing. All right. You seen that movie? You got to close the deal. I don't care about almost. Almost don't count. What's that? Brandy said that, right?
Felt real comfortable about. We felt like they would come in and help us. Justin is playing for us right now. We've got a couple costs associated with that. And so I believe our model of recruiting talented young high school players and then spot recruiting transfer portal players to fill needs until those younger players are able to develop and play is the best way to go.
That's what night, Troy. That's what you said. I think we got a lot of spots, though. I think we got more spots than he realizes.
So matter of fact, the dude down the road, down to 85, last year, his position was we recruit high school players and develop them. We don't really do the transfer portal. Yeah. He had 4 or 5 kids leave, and guess what he did this year? You know what? I'm changing. I got to go in that portal some more.
Yeah,
he ate it up.
So that don't mean Brown ain't going to do it. So what Brown might realize is, you know what? Yeah, I got these high school kids and I got some kids on the roster, but I still need to get some more. And so what he's not doing is telling you how many he needs to get, but he does recognize that we need to fill in with transfer portal kids.
And he's right. To build consistency in your program, you do need to, recruit your high school kids.
You got to jump started, though. You got to jump started.
But you got to jump start it. Yeah. I agree with that.
Hey, Troy, are you on the collective? Are you a member of the Aggie thing, collective joint? Are you doing
not
that?
this one? I did that whole other thing for a year or so, and
how did that work out? How did that work out? They tell you how much money y'all raised, or no?
Nah, I never. You had to go and click in and see what they were supposed to be doing, and I never did it. Okay. But for this collective, I really want to know what they're getting in.
Yeah, and next week on the town hall, Earl. Let's be transparent, right? If y'all only got $50, say we only got $50, but we need your money to get us to a point, and tell us what the goal is. I think Earl, and I know you're listening because you listen to everything I say now, right? But Earl, this is my whole thing, right? Now I've been very critical of your job performance and your direction of this athletic department since the pandemic, right? All right. I'm not gonna lie to you. We talked Monday and had a great conversation. But I'm gonna shoot it to you straight. On Wednesday, if you want this to go well, you need to be apologetic. You need to say, I know that things didn't go well, but you need to be strong and you need to be transparent. You got to say, this is where we at. I know we want to get this baseball stadium done. We for whatever reasons, we ain't gonna have the baseball stadium done for 2028. If you go ahead and say that, then this dude right here will stop bugging you. I'll be mad, but at least the thread will stop. Okay, you can't keep pump faking. You can't keep pump faking if you know something ain't right.
It ain't gonna stop.
Listen. You gotta treat the Aggie fan base as adults. You can't talk to them like we're little kids no more. I can't tell you what's really happening. But listen. Tell us what's happening. We can suck it up. The cover up is always worse than the crime. Don't commit the crime of false promises. Just go ahead and tell us this is where we at, and we can say, damn, is that bad? And then we can we say, you know what? Aggies do. Let's roll up our sleeves and let's get to work. But if you go ahead with the whole, everything's beautiful, and my name is A&T Troy Jr. If you become like A&T Troy Jr., it's not gonna work. You're gonna have to find a middle ground and have some transparency.
Hey man, you need to say my name right.
Just to help you track guys on the portal.
We have
I asked him about the collective. He said, "No, I'm making no money."
In place now, but really, it's less about the NIL right now.
That means we got $5 in our coffers. That's what that means.
At the FCS level, for us, it is about making sure, because we're able to get kids on campus. We had some tremendous recruits on campus on Saturday, kids that are offered by other FCS and Group of 5 players.
Close them.
So when those kids come on campus, we want to make sure that they see A&T in the best possible light.
Okay.
And that they can say, I can see myself here. And so those are the things that we're focused on, making sure we can provide, because we'll get the kids on campus.
Got to close the deal.
We'll get them here.
Got to close the deal.
Now it's just going to be making sure that they see that all that A&T has to offer, so that they'll come.
Yeah.
That's what will determine his success or failure, how well he can recruit.
Right. Mm-hmm. Now look. I know everybody here, we've been here a long night. It's almost 2 hours, but let's give me 10 more minutes. All right, so listen. I think, and this is what I want to segue into. I think the problem is, and Doug, let's tackle this head on, right? The interpersonal connections. I think the problem with the recruiting is the same issue he's having in season. For some reason, there's, and like I say, not everybody has the best personality in the world, but there's got to be something that you can do to connect with folks, right? You like Bill Belichick, he didn't have to recruit, but Nick Saban had to recruit. Nick Saban is an awkward dude. He's not as funny as he thinks, right? He's a kind of weird, awkward football guy, but he resonates. He's authentic. The problem with Coach Brown is people don't really believe that he's authentic. Am I saying something out of school, Doug? Is that at least the word on the streets?
I can't speak to that. I mean, I think he's really genuine and authentic, and having met him in person, right? I'm not judging off the press conference.
I'm not saying you. I'm saying the criticism is that you've heard that people say they can't relate to him. He's not authentic. Have you at least heard that?
I think that people misconstrue who Coach Brown is and that he's not an HBCU guy, right?
Okay.
When I think very little people realize that he attended and played and made it from an HBCU into the NFL and had a successful NFL career. So I think that gets mixed up. I mean, the guy went to Mississippi Valley State, and I'm not hating on Valley, but he's from the Atlanta area. So I think that gets lost. Like, I guess people want him to talk or look or behave a certain kind of way when he addresses the media or when he's coaching the team. But that's all preference. The bottom line is, if you win a football game, who cares, right? So I think winning solves and cures a lot of problems. Perception is not always reality. But
okay.
If he's winning ball games, I don't think that's as big as an issue.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
Set goals for this year as you sit at 1-6.
What kind of goals you got? We still trying to win.
Culture, and you said that in your opinion, it had to be built by the players. Can you just kind of elaborate on that?
Yeah, so I think, our job as coaches is to create a vision of what this should look like, and then recruit the players capable of helping craft that vision into a culture.
We talked about this. Doug thinks that's kind of, this par for the course. That's how most coaches would talk. Me and 94, we like, nah, brother, that's a laissez-faire type of attitude. You need to be the strong man and say, this is the way we're going to do it. And, I expect y'all to fall in line. The ones that fall in line will then be leaders by example for the other people. But this ain't like this ain't no damn democracy. Y'all figure out what y'all want to do. Y'all let me know. Nah.
All right. Well, let me throw some names out there.
Okay.
Alan Hooker. We heard about what he did his freshman year when he took over, right? And
yeah.
I think it's fair to say that the culture went behind Alan Hooker once he became Alan Hooker, right?
You don't think Mo Forte late create that culture?
I think he, like Coach Brown said, had a vision, right? And he sold that vision to Alan Hooker and brought him to A&T. And Alan Hooker took the reins midway through that year. And once he took over, I think the team rallied behind Alan Hooker. I will point to the time when Coach Hayes came over with Connell Maynard. Yeah, Coach Hayes was Coach Hayes. But if you talk to those guys that play with Connell, they're going to tell you about Connell Maynard and the leader he was. And I think those guys picked up his personality and played.
Let me pump the brakes. We got a video on Blue Death Night on the YouTube right now where what game was this? 1991? No. When they were at South Carolina State.
South Carolina State, when Coach Hayes went across the field to go
I
know.
30 seconds left. Connell Maynard, the team leader, scores a touchdown. He's high-fiving it. They go back to the sideline against Jeffries, and it could be conceived as running up the score. Bill Hayes made Connell Maynard and the other guy who scored a touchdown walk across the field and apologize for Coach Jeffries. That is Bill Hayes' culture. That's Bill Hayes saying this is how things gonna be done. Okay?
But guess what? Guess who ran for that? Do you think Connell Maynard paid the price in practice? Connell Maynard didn't have to suffer the penalty, right? It was the other guys that had to pay the price for that. Coach understood the role that Connell Maynard played on that team, and that those guys follow behind Connell Maynard. And to this day, they still follow behind Connell Maynard. Now they love Coach Hayes, but they know Connell Maynard was the leader and set the tone for that team in the locker room. Okay. And then when you go on and continue to talk about the Blue Death defenses, right? We're not talking about the Blue Death head coach. We're talking about the Blue Death defenses, right? Of that era, and how those guys had the key to the weight room, and they established the culture of, we're going to go ahead and lift, and we're going to get this done in the offseason when the coaches can't even be around. That's establishing the culture.
Yeah. Can you run it back? Because I think he said the same thing you and 94 are saying. Can you run it back a little bit?
How many times? This is the first time y'all ran it, right?
Yeah, it is. Okay. Go ahead and run it.
You spoke about culture, and you said that in your opinion, it had to be built by the players. Can you just kind of elaborate on that?
Hey, real quick, I got a question. Okay, I grew up in Southwest Houston. You can still hear that Houston in my voice, right? Vincent Brown grew up in Atlanta, Georgia, and went to school in Mississippi. What happened to this other accent?
Anybody? The New England Patriots. The New England Patriots would have that accent.
How do you lose a Georgia and a Mississippi combined accent when you get to the NFL?
Because
I'm pretty sure he's been away from.
He's been away from the southern
longer than he's been down there, right? Go ahead, Dave.
Man, I ain't lived in the main streets of Southwest Houston since 1990.
But the thing is, but you live in North Carolina where Southern accents reign supreme. You are A-OK, bro. Like this man has played for the New England Patriots. He coached at UConn. He coached at Howard. He coached at William and Mary. Like,
man,
Virginia.
This might be the furthest south he's coached as a coach outside of when he was played at Valley.
From Atlanta and went to Valley.
If we give him another year, he'll be back with us. But go ahead.
You might need more than 1 year, right now. Let's not do that. You might need more than a year, my brother.
All right. So run it again. I want to hear what he's saying.
Oh, I think our job as coaches is to create a vision of what this should look like, and then recruit the players capable of helping craft that vision into a culture.
Helping craft. Keyword helping.
Helping craft or inactions. And the very best teams have a large group of players that hold each other accountable. They set the standard. So Friday night, we had a Aggie football alum come talk to the team. And he
Is that you, Dougie? Yes or no?
That was actually, wasn't that Jay Reed? I believe it was Jay Reed.
That was a damn problem. You got Jay Reed to come up in there and talk. Man, now I understand why things went left. No, I'm joking. Jay Reed's my brother.
But Jay Reed's from an era where those players
Jay Reed
hung their hat on each other, right?
Yeah, Jay Reed's good. Jay Reed's probably the best person right now to resonate with this group because C5C president himself, Jay Reed,
talked about the standards that they had during his time here and the accountability that they had for each other. And so when you get that in your program, I believe your program is going to elevate to the next level needed to compete for a championship.
Yeah, I can't tell you the number of coaches I've heard say that exact same thing.
That's one of the best things Coach Brown has said, and one of the most truthful things. I mean, you got to establish that. And every coach in America wants a team where, that accountability is there amongst the players and it's player-driven. Now, you don't want it to be driven the wrong direction because we've seen some teams when those leaders aren't the right guys are doing or saying the right things. But I think we're recruiting the right kids and trying to get the right guys in the program. And Auntie's going to attract the right kids, regardless of who's at the helm. But you do want every great team I can think of had those great leaders, whether it was Darryl Clue, Montreal Pittman, Curtis, those guys were leaders, man. Yeah. And we talked about somebody just making a play. Other players look to that alpha guy or that lead dog to make a play to get you going sometimes. And you need some guys that want the football, that want to make that play. You heard me talk about Tariq earlier. I promise you, our culture took off in that era when Tariq took off. Like he kind of led the way, and his energy and his excitement kind of became who we were as a football program. Brash and bold and beating our chest, and had that Tariq excitement, and we fed off that. And then anybody that didn't meet that standard after, whether it was at running back, we were looking at you sideways if you wasn't bringing it like Cartwright or bringing it like the rest of those guys. So
it's got to be cultivated, though. That's my point. And I'm a shut up.
I have a question because we mentioned Tariq. Did you guys talk about Tariq's comments about?
We did not.
That's a good point. And he talked about there was a disconnect, and we so basically there's a common theme, and I brought it up too as far as when it came to recruiting. Tariq, what did he go? He went on record and he said, blah, 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 I got it in front of me. Hold on a second. We are the laughing stock, right? We are the laughing stock now. I just wish my coaches were there. Where he says, I see people posting there. He's talking about players posting their pictures from the grain, like they went for 200 yards and 2 for 300. If I lost the game, I wouldn't be looking at the pictures from the game. No way. The mentality carried me to the league. And he says, basically, we stayed 4 years. We built a culture. We got it out the mud. It's different now. It ain't all the way done yet. Them boys got to want it though, right? And so, lastly, He said the problem is the disconnect between the foundation, like which I guess his the golden era crew, and the culture that's there now. And I talked to other coaches who have coached against A&T, and I talked to guys on Twitter and DM and stuff, and they say that's the thing. What they notice is y'all is different from when y'all were beating us up. Y'all lost something, right? She said the problem is the disconnect between the foundation and culture that's there now. It's a two-way street, though. Now this is where he says, look, I'm ready to help if the help is ready to be received. So that means at some point he felt that his services were not needed or felt like they weren't needed. Doug, what's one thing that we noticed Saturday with the rosters? Mr. Shameik Blizzard was not wearing 28, was he?
Yeah. He went to 9. So
I didn't realize that he changed his number.
Yeah.
Maybe
that's his high school number.
Maybe they've decided to do the right thing and take that number out of rotation.
When I heard that somebody was wearing this number, I said nobody should be wearing that number. Other than
And so maybe that's why Tariq feels like he's ready to come back to the fold. He's like, okay, first of all, you can't start disrespecting me by having a freshman wearing my damn number. That's wrong. So I think maybe Earl might.
But was that a matter of ignorance? And not Earl knows, but I'm talking about for Coach Brown. Is that a matter of ignorance? Like, I don't want to kill him for it because it's about knowing too, right? And maybe
Earl should have not given him an option of having that.
Now that's fair.
Yeah, like Mr. I think the ESPY award is named after Tariq Cohen now, right? I think the male athlete of the year is called the Tariq Cohen Award. So how the hell does a third string running back have his jersey, after he graduates? It makes no sense. Right?
I'll never forget the story. I'll never forget the story about Steve Smith when he talked about when the Panthers called him to see if somebody wanted to wear his number after he left the team. I think he went to Baltimore. And he said,
go ahead.
They're not have somebody wear that number. And they never had anybody wear that number.
Yeah. So let me say this to 94, to your point. I think Brown is building his culture and it comes primarily with his players. So, it's hard to get the other coaches' players on board sometimes because he didn't recruit me. But the ones he recruit, they have much more of an allegiance to him. And they'll want I hope they'll want to be able to do the way he wants to do.
One thing I will say, we're going off the first person that went into the portal, but when the season ends, that's when we're gonna have a true idea.
Yes.
Who goes in that portal once the season, like so far, outside of Mr. Hardy, they've been pretty tight. You know what I'm saying? They've been pretty tight. Like most of the folks has gone into the portal with Sam guys. So we're going to get a real good idea because truth be told, that's what got the Hampton coach out the paint right before the season because they had a portal exodus during that period. And when they switched coaches, a lot of those guys that went into the portal came back.
Well, okay, because we're going to get out here in like 3 minutes. So before we get off, do you think, do we all believe, let's go around here. Do we all believe that Coach Brown survives this season, 2024?
Yes.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So
unless you called a donor that said there, even though like when I was on the sports lab 2 hours ago, he was saying that there was some donors that was out here trying to find that money. But
listen.
I don't see it.
Listen, I'm not trying to be conspiracy theory or like that.
No.
I listen. I get phone calls, right? I get real popular anytime A&T is struggling. I'm real popular.
The football team, not the football team. Let's be clear.
Listen, the football team. Folks find my number out of the blue. Like, how'd you get my number, right? But I've heard from people who's saying they are willing to do whatever to get things done the way they want them, right? And not, I'll leave it at that. But I talk to people at the tailgate, not Doug Brown and his friends in general, but in the walkway between Doug Brown's tent, I talked to people who assured me that they got enough money that we can do whatever we need to do whenever we want to do it. So that's the word on the street. If you want to do a word on the street thing. But I agree with you guys that there's going to be no change at the head, unless there's some type of scandal, and I hope that's not the case. But but I think he does get another year at least. But I think there will be a sacrificial lamb. You're gonna have to give the Aggie Nation a pound of flesh. I don't want to put out any negative energy, but I do think there will be a couple of coaches who will be replaced. So we can talk about that probably next week more detail. But I don't think there's no way possible he's bringing back the entire game. Right? There ain't no way possible everybody's coming back next year.
I think the OC and the DC will be back.
I don't want to get into specifics. Yeah, if you want to go off the record,
I don't. Yeah, I don't want to get into specifics either. But
I got my cynical thoughts. Yeah, I don't want to put that up out here. I've done enough of that today.
I think. Put it this way. I think statistically we're gonna have to have an uptick for one of those guys you named to probably come back. So, but that's just me spitballing. But
matter of fact, the OC doesn't. None of the quarterbacks on the roster are related to the OC, and so they may bring in a transfer and or freshman that are his kind of guys.
He didn't recruit Farby.
No, he got hired after everybody.
He got hired after everybody got there. And you know what, man? And I think he's done a pretty good job. Like all was standing because I think
you lose your starting quarterback and your top two running backs. Of course, he's done a hell of a job.
And the thing, but you know what the crazy thing about that is? He had the same thing in Texas Southern. He lost Andrew Body last year.
Oh yeah, he played.
People forget about that. That's why I'm like,
he the hell with
I'm impressed. I understand that folks feel a way about it because people that are at such and such, and even Scotty from Off Script pretty much said, "Hey, Marsh is doing different stuff than what he did at Texas Southern, what made him think that McKinney had him handcuffed. Coach Brown ain't doing that. He isn't known to handcuff his guys, his coordinators like that. He lets.
When we got the turn on Saturday, he dialed one up, didn't he?
Yeah. Hey, and Marsh didn't lose at Texas Southern. He didn't lose his top running back, much less his top two. Yeah. So he had the top running back still on his team.
But Andrew Body was special, man. And we didn't know what to do with him.
No, I'm saying he was able to run the ball because he still had his top running back. Man, just think we still had Kenji Christian, man.
Oh, God. Give me Wesley Graves. Right. I mean, give me the Grave Digger. Give me both of them, right? Yeah. That's a difference. Makes a difference, guys.
For us to do this with our starting quarterback and our top two bell cow running backs, that's tough. We don't have time to go off deep end. But that foolishness you was talking about with Scotty and Offset and
Offset.
What is it called? Off script, whatever.
Off script.
That stuff about the rumor about ANT.
No, it's not true.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. Tell.
It's not true.
Come on now. Yeah, that's just foolishness.
So, a lie don't care who told it. And the video don't care who posted it first either. Yeah. So when you post a video, it grows legs and people repost it and put their own comments to it.
Yeah,
their own headings.
Yeah, you got.
I just talked about it on MD. I can't speak for Tennessee State.
But you got to bet that stuff. You can't bring that to the table until you bet that better. Because
I will say this. He's got some pretty strong sources in the SWAC.
I think a lot of people do,
and the thing is, he might have had a source there, but we don't know who his source is.
Kamala Harris said it best: "We ain't going back."
Yeah, we ain't going back.
And we definitely ain't going back football only and leaving everything else in CAA.
I'll be honest, man. When we moved to CAA, I was like, why don't we just stay football? Because folks can complain about that bowl game. They ain't really think about the rest of them things. They don't care about the rest of them things. They care play. They want the bowl game. So you let them stay in the Celebration Bowl. They get to stay in the MEAC for that. They won't complain too much. You wouldn't be talking about let's go back to the MEAC if we were still in the MEAC for football only. I'm telling you that right now.
Hey, trust me. We won't be making no overtures because Earl Hilton, that's his death sentence. If we go back to the MEAC, Earl's got to resign the next day, right? Because he's Colin Powell. He sold the weapons of mass destruction, right? And so if we do a 360, that's an indictment on his leadership. So he's gonna fight that more than anybody. So
but G-Dub told him it was. G-Dub told him it was. So all he did was go with what G-Dub told him to do. And what happened to Colin Powell? He still got he had to fall on his sword, and he was out of there. So if you're wrong,
If you swing and miss, you're wrong.
Right? No, I'm with you, man. I know.
Yeah.
No, I'm with you.
I think in spite of all the adversity
I asked that, what was the culture like
that we faced, I think our kids are doing a great job.
2-16, 59-17. Understand,
dude. No one has checked out.
Except
Except for Josh Hardy.
Wait. That was a day later. Or 2 days later.
No, we've seen wait. We've seen moments during this season. Let's not do that.
Yeah.
To be fair, let's call a spade a spade.
Yeah. Well, he didn't make it official until 2 days ago.
That are getting the opportunities.
That's the third time he's probably put the team that I know of. So
step up and compete, and I think our guys are still excited about playing football.
At this point, you say you're 2 and I think 16.
All right, here come the powerhouse questions everybody was freaking out about.
This is where you got viral, bro. Congrats.
And that's the whole thing. I was shocked because sometimes when things get picked up, you're like, we picked up that. Of all the crazy stuff I said over the years, that's some stuff that gets me viral. And I just thought it was an honest question.
One thing I learned about going viral before you go. One thing I learned about going viral.
Yeah.
You when you do it a few times, you don't know, but once it happens a few times to you, you know. I posted a tweet. I knew I was gonna go viral. Day before my birthday, I posted a crazy tweet about black men and Kamala Harris and voting.
Good Lord.
And I went viral, and I knew I was gonna go viral. I muted that tweet immediately, and then I came back the next day. I had 1.1 million people that saw it.
Dang. Hey, y'all remember when Craig went viral? If he dies, he dies.
Yeah.
Oh man,
that was classic.
If he dies, he dies.
Last year you made a change to offense coordinator.
So I asked, this is the prelude to the other question. I said, are you gonna make a change, dude? Is somebody getting out of here?
Have you considered making any other staff changes before the season's over?
No. I believe in our staff. We got great leaders.
Our
coaches care about the development of our players. Our coaches have had success coaching. They didn't just all of a sudden not know how to coach, and so I believe in our staff. But as I shared with our staff yesterday, this is a results-oriented business, and it's our job to produce results. And sometimes those results aren't immediate. Sometimes they're not immediate, but we need to see improvement and progress. And so that's where we're focused on getting better.
I hope it's a fair question.
So I gave him a chance to brace himself, gentlemen. I did blindside.
You definitely did.
Because the dude in news and records said I hit him with a blindside block. I did not blindside him. I said, look here, get your feet set, coach. I'm coming. Go back.
But if someone came to the game Saturday and they were disappointed in the outcome and they see the schedule, they question, do we have the right man for the job to lead this football program? What would your response be to that?
Absolutely.
I do. Absolutely.
Excuse me. So was that somebody in the back of the room saying something? What?
That was Earl.
That was Earl Hilton. Said mine too. All right.
Well, it's because they understand this rebuild overhaul and that we started behind the 8 ball. That's the reason why they saying that.
A&T Roy, you can say that, but you know what I heard? What I heard to mine too? The wagon is hitched, ladies and gentlemen.
Mm-hmm.
It is hitched.
And that's you know what? And
that's fine.
You know what?
What do you mean the wagon is hitched?
As in
they're tied together.
They are tied together. They are connected. And the crazy thing is, for me, Earl has done a lot of stuff with this athletics department.
Yes.
He has done a phenomenal job.
Let me say this.
And he should not go out like this. But listen, when he hitched his wagon when he made that comment. When he said,
I agree with you.
He's the most decorated athletic director in school history.
Absolutely. No doubt about it. Ain't no question about it. He going to the Hall of Fame immediately. Like he goes. Yes. Whether y'all like it or he goes. He's there.
Yeah. But I agree with you that they're hitched, but it's for the reasons that I said, is because they recognize where we started and what the circumstances are. Yeah, absolutely. But I think you're going to hear Earl say that next week.
But I'm gonna tell you right now, I don't think Earl had a choice in the matter, but I think it was smart for him to do that, right? Mm-hmm. Because one thing you don't want to get the impression of is if, Coach Brown's is kind of left out there, a man without an Allen, Coach Chancellor Martin, for all his great accomplishments, he's not here to fight these battles. He's retired. He's sipping Mai Tais on the beach right now, right?
He might be teaching engineering soon, but stay tuned.
But my whole thing is this vision, this course that we got set on is now being executed by Coach Brown and to some degree Earl Hilton. So for Earl to say I'm in it with you, and I'll let my voice be known at the press conference. I think that was smart, and I think it was impactful. So I think that was a good look for him to get
absolutely
up. Yeah. And the only way that happens is if I ask the question. So y'all need to be thanking me for giving them that soundbite.
Thank you.
Oh, don't worry. You know what should be thanking you? HBCU game day should be Mr. Gaither needs to be thanking you on a daily.
Man, that's my man Steve.
I owe him a phone call because I want to know how tense it really was in there, man. I should ask you the same question.
So let me tell you, this is how tense it was. We were smiling and laughing 30 seconds later. I talked to Earl. That's when I said, Earl, I said this in public, so I'm like, it wasn't like off the record comment. I said, Earl, this was great to find, he said, well, you asked me tough questions. I started laughing, right? I said, I'm trying to be fair. I said, you know what, Earl? To be honest with you, I think it would be even more impactful if you got up there and they heard from you. And, just to reaffirm the vision, I said, not just to, go over your talking points, but, also to sell some of the successes that we aren't aware of, And I told Earl this when Coach Brown was hired at the press conference. I said, you guys don't celebrate y'all success enough. And then, if you're going to get criticism from me, I'm criticizing stuff I don't like, but y'all need to point out the stuff that I might not be aware of. And so hopefully Wednesday next week, we can, he'll take that opportunity to get his message out. And, and I got my thoughts on direction, but if it benefits A&T, I'm supporting it.
So, Maj, did our drunk uncle make
Hold on, say that one more time. If it benefits A&T,
I'm supporting it.
I'm gonna hold you to that.
Always. First of all, we gotta get out of here. Let's go around the horn. Troy, we're gonna give you the first of the last words. Go give me something.
All right. So A&T has a new moniker that has been being started here. So I don't know if you know, but Jay Walker and the Howard University folks refer to Howard University as America's HBCU.
The Mecca, yeah.
Well, it stands to reason that North Carolina A&T State University is the Earth's HBCU.
God damn.
So from now on, I want to hear you say, we are Earth's HBCU because we're bigger than America. We're the whole Earth. Matter of fact, it goes with GHOE. Greatest homecoming on Earth.
So Doug, to answer your question, I think I prefer Randall when it comes to misfits. When it comes to misfits who support A&T, I prefer. Can we get Randall? Somebody shoot Randall a text. Tell me we want him on the show.
HBCU, baby.
He's gonna be a regular replacing somebody.
A better thing was just to have Jay Walker commentate different games. The HBCU community wants him to stop commentating these HBCU games.
Man, I like Jay Walker. Him and Tiff. I
love Tiffany. Love Tiffany.
What you got, Dave? Give us something before we go.
Man, just prep for basketball season, guys. just look. I'm just serious. I'm trying to be honest with you guys. I think men's basketball is going to place higher than 10th. I think the women's got a legitimate shot to win this conference. I ran into Terrell Robinson during the tailgate. I talked to Terrell Robinson while I was tailgating, and he kind of felt the way about the fact that it wasn't unanimous.
Oh,
he said other coaches called and said it should have been unanimous.
Got a chip on his shoulder. I like that.
Yes, he does. Even though he got the first place vote.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to these ladies this year, man. I'm gonna be honest with you. I watch all the games. I'm gonna try to get down to when they play Norfolk. That's gonna be a barn burner in Greensboro, bro. I know the students ain't gonna be there, but
we're gonna smoke those chunks, man.
You better be careful. Norfolk's just legit. So it's gonna be a heck of a game. I'm looking forward to that.
We're gonna shut Diamond down. We're gonna shut her down.
You gonna shut her down?
Yes.
Diamond's legit. Diamond, they're good. They might mess around and get a draft pick. All jokes aside, they might mess around and get a draft pick.
Hey, Troy,
we got Jordan, baby.
Troy,
Jordan.
How long does early voting last? When's that end? Early voting.
I have no idea.
November 2nd.
There you go.
Troy, I'm looking at your shirt.
Hey, leave it to the Noops, man. God, leave it to the Noops, man.
I
voted before I left for GHOE last week, man.
I did that on purpose. I wanted to give him a chance to chime in with some good information.
The bro didn't know. The bro didn't know.
He didn't know.
He's too busy throwing them hooks. He's too busy throwing them hooks.
All right, 94. We got another win on the schedule this year. We got another win.
Why do you want me to be a Debbie Downer?
Why?
I'll be positive. I'll be positive. I think we have 2 shots to get a win. 2 shots.
No, he said a win. You said shots. The semantics.
I said two shots, like a drink. We just drank a lot. 2 shots. 2 shots.
We're going 1-11 this year, Samaj.
Yeah.
Oh no, man! Come on, man. We're gonna get one of them. We're gonna clip somebody. I think it's gonna be on the road though if we do it.
You think Townsend?
Guys, we're just a few weeks away from almost knocking off a top 25 opponent in the conference.
And the following game, GHOE, we lose 59.
But I will say this: we're better on the road than we are at home.
I think
the margins show that we're better on the road than we're at. I don't know what it is.
Okay. Wait. This got to be 30 seconds or less. 94. Did you hear about the booing at the tailgate at the pep rally?
Oh, I heard about it.
My daughter told me about it. My daughter told me about it.
That's not
I heard about it.
That's probably why we don't have a good home record. If the student
body I will say this. The players complained about the disrespect too prior to the season. So there's something else going on there between them and the students.
It comes with the territory.
And it does.
It wasn't like this in 2000.
Gave us a hard time.
Man, you crazy. It sure was.
No, it was. And the thing is, look, when I was a student, our basketball team won 1 game. We booed them cats. Absolutely, we did. Like that's what we did, bro. It was bad. Like when you're a student, like you want to see wins. And besides, booing builds character. You're gonna get booed all your life. You Black in America, you're gonna get booed all your life indirectly anyway. You better build that character now.
Yeah, when I was in high school, our team captain was at a halftime. We were being beat 28-0 by Reed Ross. He came in there crying. Come on, fellas. Them cool dudes be talking trash to me all the time. Let's go. Trust me, it comes with the territory and athletics.
Well, back in the early 90s, we didn't have much to boo about, but I'm telling y'all up front, if it came up, I was not booing Skibo, I was not booing Kevin Little, and I was not booing Knox Thompson. Absolutely no way, no how. And Hollywood either. No.
That wasn't happening. All right. Anything we need to know? Anything we need to know in the world on your end?
Just remind people that we got the basketball Aggie Madness is Nets.
Oh yeah.
Wednesday. Nets Wednesday night.
Thursday.
Or is it Thursday night?
Yeah, because the town hall is
next week. Town hall's on Wednesday, but the Aggie Madness is on Thursday night. Men's and women's basketball. So if you're not doing anything on Wednesday or Thursday night, make your way on over to Corbett. Should be a lot of fun.
All right.
Oh yeah, we're taking a bus down to Campbell too. So
this weekend.
So there'll be Aggies down. There'll be Aggies down there for Campbell's homecoming.
There you go.
This is Campbell's.
Well, there you go.
We can spoil somebody else's homecoming, man.
Yeah, we can do reversal fortune. All right, Doug, you got anything for us, man?
Not much, man. Just want to give everybody a shout out again for GHOE, man. It was an awesome week. It continues to be the premier event amongst HBCUs. You guys kind of did a phenomenal job of welcoming folks in. Dave, you show up and you do your thing, man. It's fun following you during your travels, man, and all you did, you and E-Man, when y'all down here. So appreciate you guys, man. Let's keep the Aggie brand strong. Let's be conscious of our comments and our posts and how that shifts or changes the narrative, right? And what we say and how it affects folks. Even those Aggies that don't get a chance to go to the games, that don't have a clue what's going on. But let's get everybody back on board. United we stand, divided we fall. never give up, fight like hell. That was one of the quotes that a coach used to give us. And I think if we stick to that, then we'll be fine as Aggie fans. Aggie Nation is strong, and it won't be long before we're back on top. Wherever we are and whoever's leading us, Aggie Nation will not be down for long.
Right. Real quick, somebody in the chat said you speak about Coach Ragsdale trying to ask Coach Brown a question. Yeah, and that was just like everybody thinks that was like a big crazy blow up. It wasn't. He just it was his first time attending the press conferences, and so they have kind of like an audience, so you can pay like $10 or whatever and get lunch, and then you can observe the press conference. That's why you hear people clapping sometimes. But it's the media that asks questions. But he was there, so he was like, "Well, shoot, you asked a question. I got a question." They were like, "Nah, Coach, it's only for the media." He said, "Okay, I'll wait till the end." And so at the end, he went up to Coach Brown and had a good conversation. And everybody think it's like Crips and Bloods. At the end of the press conference, listen. At the end of the press conference, it was me, it was Dr. Simmons, it was Steve Gaither. Everybody's just hanging out. Coach Brown's here, Earl Hill's here. George Ragsdale, that everybody's just sitting down like us and just saying, you know what's going on? You know, it's not no person. Everybody's professional. It's not no personal beef. So that's why y'all be freaking out about questions. I'm like, yeah, I'm sitting right next to him. How am I not going to ask him that? So, but we'll talk about that next time. Hopefully on this next Wednesday. Oh man, we didn't get a chance to do these 3 plays. We'll do that next week. We'll double up. I'll do from homecoming edition and the Campbell.
You actually got 3 played? Well, I know you got 1.
I got about 300, but I can trim you down. But everybody, thank you so much for the kind words that you gave Doug and Craig and myself this past week. It really makes a difference. Makes us motivated to do this every night. You guys watch the show, and y'all remember stuff that I forgot about the show, and so I got to be super mindful of the stuff that we say. I ain't taking back my low country joke. That was funny. Y'all know what's funny. All them South Carolina people, y'all some territorial folks. People from South Carolina do not like people who make fun of South Carolina. Because my dad's he's from Columbia, and I be talking about.
Oh, I didn't know your dad was from Columbia.
I be talking about how ghetto that city is, and he gets.
No, don't you dare slander my home city. Don't do that.
Listen, Columbia's a damn war zone, man. That is.
There are pockets that are war zones. I can tell you that.
Columbia is rough, yeah. But
I think folks don't understand how rough Columbia can be.
Yeah, so people from South Carolina in general don't like jokes about, but they get over it. And well, until next time, for Dave, A&T Roy, 94, of course, the good Newt, Doug Brown, and the president, Craig Turner. I am Samaj Marsh. It's been a great episode of Blue Death After Dark. Hopefully we got people on the same page. We got, at least some marching orders or a plan at least on how we're going to move forward. We'll figure more things out next week at the town hall. But this has been Blue Death After Dark. See you next week. Thank you.
HBCU.
Aggie Pride.
Aggie Pride.